Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. A little bit of a deep voice because it's super early for me. Um, yeah, good morning, good evening. How are you guys doing today? Check in the chat. Today we are here with Drama Llama hosting our year in review, talking about anything that happened in the year. I am Yemi and I am your media and content person in Drama Llama. Today we will have Sean in with us. He's our CEO. We're just going to chat a bit. If you have anything you want to talk about, feel free to put it in the chat. Okay, hi. Oh, I see some highs in the comments. So, hi. Hi, Warren. Hi, Mama Mochi. How are you guys doing today? Okay, yeah, so we're just basically going to go over the year, and we're going to do general overviews of each country, the big countries of Asian BL. So, yeah, and Sean, welcome aboard as well. Let's
No, I
get
don't
Sean
wanna.
in here.
No,
Yes. Oh,
no, I'm good.
hi, Sean.
Hello. We
How
also
are
have
you
Topher.
doing?
Whenever you want to bring him in too.
Oh, Topher's here. Ooh,
Yeah,
Topher.
Topher showed
Are
up.
there pants involved in this situation?
No, I
Okay.
can I can confirm there are no pants.
Good. Hello, good afternoon, Topher. You can come on in as well.
Not a
So, quick
single pant was harmed.
introductions. In case anybody doesn't know us, yeah, like I said, I'm Yemi, Drama Llama, media and content. I'm out in Japan from Barbados. Yeah, that's the basics. Topher, introduction, please. What do you do?
Yeah, who are you, Topher? Nobody knows you.
I'm Topher. I am Drama Llama's resident pants not enthusiast, whatever the opposite of enthusiast is. I do that. I'm also the um, leader of the BL nipple movement.
Oh,
Um,
And
also
cheekbones, yeah.
president of the Sean Loves Feet fan club.
oh my God.
Um, and
Hey, Jared.
I'm also on the growth team for Drama Llama. I do things.
You're not just
for
on the
Drama
growth
Llama.
team. Let's be very clear here.
He's
I
the
am one fraction of the growth team. We
So
are
he's my
unit.
boss. He's my
We
boss.
are a unit. There are no
Shaolong
bosses in this team.
What?
my little boss. Yeah, so I hope nobody's new here because they might be scared, but that's Topher. Sean, a little introduction from you as well.
No, I can say that. No, no, no.
Oh,
Hi.
you already changed my name for me. I was gonna do
I
that.
did. I got you. I got you. Hi, I'm Sean. I'm the founder of Drama Llama. This is, I do things. I don't know. I do all the things.
This
I
is true. He does do
basically
things.
do all of the paperwork. That's. I like to call myself the professional beggar.
Yeah, a lot of paper, a lot of meetings.
A lot of meetings,
Sean.
a lot of talks, a lot of not as that's why I love coming and doing these things, because then it gets me out of those things.
Okay, so chat is pretty active. Hello, everybody. Yeah, we've got a ton of people in here today. Maria, Ren, Marlene, nice to see you guys. Leon, Yumin, Leisha. Hi, everybody. So we're going to start off chatting about some things that happened outside, around the periphery of BL this year. And of course, the biggest thing that happened outside, but in our Asian world, is Thailand getting their law passed. Okay, so we're going to chat a bit about that. My biggest takeaway is now that I know the entire legal system, how you pass a law in Thailand. Like, I literally have lived in Japan 16 years, Barbados 23, US 2. I have no idea how to pass a law in
But
any
Yemi,
country.
you're only 27. What do you mean?
Yes, delusions. These are the good delusions that we want, right? Yeah, and now I know how to pass a law in Thailand, right? Run it through the house, get a rewrite, run it through the upper house, um, put it in the King's Gazette, get the king to sign off on it, 120 days, and then we pass into law on January 22nd, right? No, I learned all of that from this, right? How are you guys feeling, thoughts, anything you want to say about us getting our third country in Asia? Everybody knows about Taiwan. You never hear about the second because situation's a bit interesting, right? Our second is Nepal. Yeah, let's not even touch that. But
I don't even
how are we
know
feeling?
that. What am I missing on that one?
Nep-
I thought Taiwan was the only one, basically.
Basically, it is actually.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was with Nepal is that it was voted by like a Supreme Court, but it's not in the law books or something like that. So places randomly uphold or don't uphold it.
Oh, that's good times.
Yeah, so you never know.
We
You
love
could
that
turn up at court
uncertainty.
and they'd be like, nope. So I don't know if they have fixed that situation yet, but in theory, Nepal is second.
I don't count that.
And
I'm
they-
just
yeah.
saying, I don't count that.
I don't count it. I don't know how
There's two
Nepal
of 'em, but
counts
like,
it.
there's no certainty with that. Like, you can't say that. Whatever. Thailand is number 2 in my book.
I like to be a contrarian. I'm going to count. I got you, Nepal. I got you.
Of course you would.
Yeah, so it's in Wikipedia. Same-sex marriage has been provisionally recognized nationwide in Nepal since April 24th, 2024. On 28th June 2023, Supreme Justice directed the government to establish a separate register for sexual minorities and non-traditional people. Yes, however, it isn't kind of, I don't know if it's still in that space though. So who knows what's going on with Nepal. We'll have to read up more on that afterwards and see if Nepal has calmed down. Anyhow, Thailand, back to Thailand. Oh, Haria says hopefully their country will be legal too. Where's Haria? Was it, I don't remember, somewhere in Europe I feel, but oh, Italy. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What are we feeling?
I had no idea how anything was done in Thailand, but it definitely educated me to some extent. And then maybe about 75% of the way through, I was like, okay, I don't get it. Magic. No. No, but it is good. It's good. It's a good thing. It's exciting, and it just solidifies in my mind that Gunn and I are possible. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That was your takeaway. You're like, just kidding, unless you go do it, right?
No.
Kidding.
So let's go to
Kidding like
Washington.
Nelly. Like if God calls us, yeah, I was not kidding.
No.
Yeah, I was no. How about you, Topher? Any thoughts?
I mean, obviously, it's a good thing. It's a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. It's one of those things that I just never. Well, I was gonna say I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime, but up until like 3 years ago, Thailand and the LGBTQ scene wasn't a thought in my mind because I was not reacting to BL. I wasn't doing any of this stuff. I was
No idea.
trapped in the States. So, and I'm still trapped in the States, trying to escape. Who wants me? What country wants me?
Seriously.
I'm on my
Ser-
way.
Seriously.
Because Florida is Florida. But yeah, no, I think it's a step in the right direction. It's awesome to see such a large country um, reach that milestone, and hopefully it is just the start of other countries following suit. Obviously, it was not an easy fight. Obviously, this is something that has taken time and effort on many people's parts. Many people out there campaigning and just championing for LGBTQ plus rights. So hopefully, this is the start of. This could be the start of something new. It feels so right. Siri, play my music. Yeah, hopefully it's like just the start of more inclusivity from a legal standpoint around the world. It is going to be a very difficult battle. It's going to be a very uphill battle, as it's been for a very long time, but it is a little ray of hope that, hey, this country, this major country, can do it. Eventually, these other countries can hopefully follow suit and do it because we need it. We need it.
Who do you think is next?
You know, I've slowly started to come around to when we interviewed Dr. Pat, he said Japan, and I'm slowly coming around to this idea because Japan will not be first, right? We're never going to do that. We're never going to just break from the pack. However, there is less major obstacle to Japan being next because like Korea has to fight with the fact that they've got a very strong Christian, like of the East, right? They've got a very strong Christian foundation, and Philippines is in that same boat, right? They have to fight with the Christianity. Us in China, we don't have Christianity as a big issue. So, but China is China-ing. We've seen China-ing. We can't even get it on TV for China. So, yeah, we don't, that's not. And Japan, on the other hand, what we do have is old fogies in power to the nth degree, right? And so, like, the people at the top, thing about Japan is that we are a your superior is superior, right? So you get everything in terms of age and length of time in something. So everybody at the top is 60. You can't be 25 and be at the top, right? And so they really can't see what the lower echelons are doing a lot, but the lower echelons do not care. The lower echelons are like, fine, if you want to marry that person, who cares, right? So it depends on how much we can get them to see that, you know, if we can get that into the courts a lot, get that really visible. Yeah, Japan could be next. Otherwise, it will be maybe some random smaller place that, you know, nobody remembered to consider. But yeah, they just went, right? For me, I don't see a lot of the big names. I just don't see it.
South Korea, I don't think is anytime soon. I just don't.
South Korea is
I would
probably
love it.
dry,
Listen, they're having
screaming
enough
and
time
kicking.
with the president right now. Okay, so what are they on their third in the last month or something? I think they're trying to get rid of this one now too.
Yeah, that's usually Japan, like changing through them. Like my first 5 years, we had 6. I
Good
was
God.
like,
Good God.
I don't. Every now and again, I have to remember, like they changed it earlier this year, and I'm like, don't know who the prime minister is because they keep changing, and I don't commit them to memory. So, like when we had the one Abe that had gone assassinated earlier,
Yeah.
he was there for 9 years. I was like, what are you doing? How are you still here? Right? So yeah, who's next, Topher? What do you think?
China. I manifesting.
I don't even know what kind of
Yeah,
manifestation that would take.
I mean, all right.
I've got a long list of manifestation that I got to do for 2020.
Let's manifest it.
So I'm just adding China to that list. Will it happen? I don't know. Probably not. But I can still dream.
Okay, but the question was next, okay?
It could happen.
Come out
Maybe
of nowhere.
And
maybe
Sean could actually marry Gunn.
Yes, China will see Sean's marriage to Gunn being broadcasted
Okay,
live
all right.
around the world. And they will be so touched.
Sean Gunn, the wedding, come through.
Yes, they will be so touched that they're like, damn, we need to reevaluate what we've been doing. We need some more of this in our country. And then Bam. There you go.
Oh
I,
boy.
I'll let you know.
I like
Well,
to
this
believe
is
in,
going to be an interesting discussion.
but
um,
outside of China, Japan was
mhm.
the first one that came to mind when you asked the question of like, again, my brain is thinking like the major like BL houses. If we're just talking countries in the world, I don't know. They're too
Well, we're not
small.
talking countries in the world. We're talking like the areas,
The
like
area,
this
yeah.
area, East, Southeast Asia. Well, I
Yeah.
guess North Asia as well.
Japan
Just
felt like the most likely in my head of the
Yeah, the
major
only other thing I see happening is maybe a country nearish to Thailand, like I don't know, Laos or something that we're not considering because they're not major in BL.
I think
Yeah,
you're
but
missing one country in particular.
which country are
North
we missing?
Korea.
No.
Oh no!
They
Sorry,
would really want to be contrarian to South Korea then.
no. Oh man, who are we missing, Sean?
Vietnam.
Oh,
According to what I'm seeing, is that it was decriminalized in 2015, but they're expecting to revisit the marriage law in 2025. So it's potential.
okay. So yeah, I can see that makes sense to me because Vietnam doesn't have the same obstacles I just mentioned,
Yeah.
really. And the Vietnamese people I know here, we have a lot of Vietnamese people here, and open to pretty much, so on the street, no problem, right?
Yeah.
It's what the political, like Japan a bit, but what the political scene is doing. But on the street, I think no problem for Vietnam. Yeah. What do you guys in chat think for
Yes.
next country? Oh, Malaysia. I've seen Malaysia, Indonesia, right? This part of South Asia, I think we aren't considering people, but like again, for us, the big names are the BL names or the big countries because for me, I'm next to China and Korea, so everything I see is China and Korea. I used to live right next to North Korea. It was fun when they were like on the communication satellite technology tip, and so they'd be like, "Oh, there'll be a communication satellite overhead this weekend." I'm like, well, this is how I die. Right? But yeah, so that's my, I have a bit of a blinder apart from those. So yeah, I do think it could be one of these countries that we're not thinking of in the south part of Asia.
I don't think, at least from what I'm seeing, I don't know that Malaysia is necessarily a good option. The rights are definitely like the opinions from opinion polls look like they're switching a little bit. I think what I'm seeing is 2013 it was like 9% believed homosexuality should be accepted by society, and then in 2023 that went up to 17%. So it's definitely going in the right direction. I just don't know that it's there
Going
yet.
that fast. I think for Malaysia, like what happens with the Islam countries, because Thailand had the same like bit of resistance in the Islam section. So what's happening there, I suspect, is there's not necessarily like a huge like pushback religiously on a religious ground. However, they're very traditional in gender roles in Islam a lot. So sometimes that can be something that kicks up, I think, for Islam countries, with me being a complete noob for, these religious things. But I feel like Christianity usually religiously is, the worst, right? The one that pushes the hardest. But yeah, Islam has very traditional gender roles, as we know from a lot of the countries, kind of, even if you're there as a tourist, you have to, like, as a woman, you have to cover your face for some countries or whatever, right? So that may be something that they have to deal with, the traditionalism of their gender roles, right? So yeah, so
I think most of the time, yes, definitely Christianity, but I think any of the Abrahamic religions, typically in general, which is the big three, of course. I was looking into Cambodia real quick, friends. No
So Warren
censorship,
mentioned actually
legality.
earlier as well, talking about the influence of Not Me. How do we feel about BL influencing this whole ride? Because I actually have a survey that Sean would know. Before I actually met Sean, I was like, I have this really interesting survey done by Dr. Ishida Hitoshi of Takshoku University, about gay men, and he had one of his female colleagues do a one for women fans of BL and their perceptions. And so I have data upon data, and I just literally, I was like, I'll send it to you soon, Sean. It's been a year.
Yeah,
It's just there. I've done nothing with this data.
I love
but
data.
I know
I don't have
it.
that data.
Right? I know that it exists. Right? And so one thing that was interesting about the I need to go look up her name so I can actually put some respect on her name. But one thing that was interesting was that women, they found overwhelmingly that BL fans had become more open to anything related with gayness from having seen it so much. Like, well, we don't remember because we were actually, for once, actually not there. Okay, it's not as pretending to be younger than we are. Well, me, because these two are fine 22-year-olds, right? You would hear about the first time people said damn on screen, Gone with the Wind, right? And the audience was like, oh, damn, they said damn on a screen in a place that is public, right? And the first time people kissed on screen. I literally remember, because I came to Japan in 2008, the first time I saw a kiss that wasn't this, right? I know what the show was, right? It wasn't even a main character too. Like the girl was not a main character. Shirota Yu in Confession Insurance, let's call it that, where he helped people. He was basically Hitch, right? And he kissed a girl. I was like, oh, they're like kissing, right? And so that happens, right? You have to get used to seeing something a bit, right? And so I think, the data is there that from reading manga and watching TV shows and anime, that people are just more used to it if they are BL fans, right? So with that very long intro, how do you guys feel about Thailand being the leader in quantity of BL produced, and that driving anything in this space, right?
I mean, I think that just what you were talking about there follows with what we know of the LGBTQ plus movement just in general. It was Harvey Milk that said, it's harder to hate us to our face, right? Basically. That's not a direct quote. I don't remember the actual quote anymore, but that's basically it. And I think that the new media landscape is helping with that. We're talking Harvey Milk was 70s or something. Here we are in 2024. We have the internet. We have the ability to just meet people and see people from all walks of life. And LGBTQ plus people are part of that. And I think that it is harder to hate us to our faces when we're in the media. As far as Thailand is concerned, I think that it's a good place for this. Again, like Topher, coming from my very American brain, I didn't think about East and Southeast Asia for most of my life until I ran across BL, and then started to learn more about it. And I think, as I've learned, Thailand seems to be it has seemed like a very open place. Whether the laws tend to lag behind, of course, people's opinions and stuff, but it seems like Thailand was a perfect place for this type of media to take off.
Okay. Topher, thoughts? How does the media affect us, and how do we affect the media, kind of?
Well, similar to what Sean said, like prior to being part of the BL sphere, my brain just wasn't thinking about, not that it wasn't thinking about LGBTQ issues around the world. It's just my focus was I'm here in America. Stuff in America's not great all the time. And there are lots of LGBTQ plus issues here that I'm focused on because they're in my face. But having joined the BL community and kind of immersing myself in that world, like you said, it just kind of, it slowly exposes you to not even just other issues, but it just exposes you to lifestyles and things around the world that you may not have thought about. And that sort of exposure brings a certain awareness. And with that awareness, I feel like Thailand is such a huge country, such a huge country. So having that sort of just platform, even when before the laws were in effect and before they had, marriage equality and whatnot, just having the visibility in such a large space is such a impactful thing for LGBTQ plus people around the world. For I lost my train of thought. Yeah.
Train has left the station.
There's a bird. That's all bird.
Squirrel.
But yeah, the squirrel. Ah, why is there a squirrel in my room? I just cleaned yesterday. But yeah, I think having such a large scale representation definitely helps to just, again, put LGBTQ plus faces and stories out there for the world to see, even if people aren't watching them, just seeing them. Like you said, just that slow exposure to, some people need a slightly, more distilled, slow exposure. Some people can just dive straight to the pool and be like, oh, okay, this is great, I'm going to stay here for a little while. But just seeing it, like, okay, there's gay people, ew. And then you see it a second time, you're like, oh. Third time, like, whatever, they're not hurting anyone. Fourth time, like, oh, shit, those two are kind of hot. Fifth time, like, hey, do you need a third? Like, that slow sort of exposure over time, I think is beneficial. We won't talk about quality, we're talking about quantity right now. Yes, I think just having that exposure is very beneficial. And I'm thankful that Thailand and the Thai BL industry rolled with it, because they very easily could have just, because like when I came into it, it had already been around for a little while, but like I came into it as a result of like quarantine and whatnot. I feel like the quarantine boom like caused so much BL to just kind of explode out into the universe. And Thailand could have been like other countries where it's like, oh, quarantine is done now. The world is back to normal. Bye. Thanks for watching our gay shit. Bye. But they didn't. I mean, part of it's probably because they saw the marketability to it. But also, again, just having that visibility and taking the chance to put out that kind of content, knowing that there's going to be backlash, knowing that there's going to be people pushing back, knowing that there's going to be people saying, hey, no, get this gay shit off my screen. I don't want gay stuff off my screen. Sorry, we're not on my channel. Get this stuff off my screen. Just have that the entire time. I don't.
We're not on TikTok. It's fine. They won't shadow ban us.
We'll be fine once we don't like show the nipple talk. Almost got Sean banned.
Oh my god.
That show, like, whew.
I was on the ball somehow, because that was like 4 a.m. or something, and
right, we're just like, ooh, well, he's
don't
awake
know what
now
we're
because
talking
he's just
about.
censoring. Yeah, we had the nipple talk from Taiwan, and it is the nipple talk. The name did not lie. There's just nipples, and you haven't even gotten to the peen, but there's
schmecks
peen
everywhere.
too.
There were
Just
schmecks everywhere.
right.
But
So
where
we're like,
the
okay,
nipple-
Yes,
There-
there are
there was a
nipples.
lot.
There's girls' nipples, boys'
Everything.
nipples, like everything in between. Just nipples everywhere, right?
And then,
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, Marlene. I see you. I don't know. I'm trying to be a good interviewer, but yeah. We had an interview last week, so look out for that. Uh, that's coming up. Yeah, I don't really consider myself. I don't use the word ally because I don't fight for anything. I'm like, I'm like, they're like, oh, they're lynching black people. Guess I'm dead now because I ain't fighting. I don't have that energy. I'm too old. But like, I didn't like look for. Obviously, it's not something that affects me directly. And when I first came to Japan, I was way up north in Iwate, and I had one of our foreign English teachers was gay, and through him, I met Japanese gay people, right? And I remember like years and years ago, this guy,
Do you have
15
their
years ago, he
numbers?
was like,
do
pardon?
you have their numbers?
No,
More
I
importantly,
don't
are they
really.
interested in a three-way relationship with Gunn?
This guy told me gayness doesn't exist in Japan, and I've been unpacking that for 15 years, right? Because you're like, you're gay, what do you mean? Right? But I think it's just like it's not in the public eye at all, right? Or at least then. Now it is more like at school they do teach it in the in our high schools. We have health, and it's called Hokentai, which is health and PE is one class, right? And so they have like one period a week of the physical side, and then they have one period a week where the teacher is teaching them random anything, right? So like that could be related to physicality, like marriage is in there as a topic. I'm like, okay, but you know, and so it's in that course. And there's also like, because Japan has a large problem with like, people here are very, very, we say gaman, which means to just take whatever the world puts on you. It makes you stronger, right? What doesn't break you makes you stronger, kind of as a national philosophy. But what happens is if they're broken, they're just done, right? And so that's why we have a super high suicide rate in Japan, because you're good, train, kind of. You know, that is normal here. We have a very high rate, especially in the north, right? And so they have taken a lot of care now that the population's decreasing to, you know, get these things out there so that people aren't bullied for certain things. They trying not to lose any more people than they need to lose. If you're dying in a car accident, we, you know, probably couldn't prevent some of that, but let's prevent people from going on their own, right? And so they have lots more campaigning and stuff, right? In Japan now. And this was a random tangent because this is not what I was talking about.
It was a
Right.
beautiful tangent.
Yeah, but recently we've seen articles on the soft power. So it's in the public eye in a good way, because Thailand already gets a lot of pink dollar because of BL, right? Even people who are not in the community visit Thailand a lot because of BL, right? So there's a dollar value attached to this. When it becomes legal, people are going to start doing weddings in Thailand, right? More dollars. And Japan needs dollars, right? Money, right? So yeah, that might be a big factor. Mama Mochi says I'm not old. We defer to you, Queen Mama, but I am also old, okay? Thank you, Marlene. I look like I'm 21. I'm double that. I'm 43 now, so I'm old. My knees say I'm old, okay? Like yesterday, like I was like, is that a sound that's supposed to come out of a knee? I don't know. Right? Oh, pink dollar, C is... So we refer to pink as like the color of the kind of LGBTQ community. So anytime we say pink something, it means something to do with that. And when we say the pink dollar, it is the money that you can get economically by catering to the community, right? So if you make a movie, for example, and there's a side ship in that movie, which it features two men or two women or something like that, and it's done well, the community will come out and your movie will make a lot of money, right? So that's called pink dollar, going after the pink dollar. Yes. Okay.
Sometimes we call it the gay TM.
The KTM. Ooh.
That's for older people who actually
Yeah.
remember what ATMs were.
We are so like, oh, it's weird here. It's a combination of the highest technology and the lowest technology. Right? So it's just, there's no in between. I always reference the toilets because Japan has the fancy dancy toilets that, they wash you, they sing if you're embarrassed by your noises, they do your taxes, whatever, right? Fancy dancy toilets, but we also have holes in the ground. So you can, it's a grab bag. You go into a public place, grab bag, right?
You saw phone booths?
If we do have phone booths sometimes. It's not super, super common anymore, right? But we did, like when I did my Perth, Aussie Perth meetup the other day, like there's a one-on-one thing you could do and online. And usually these things are credit card. I have not done this in so long. It was Furikomi. Furikomi means you go to the ATM and you put in the number of an account and it transfers it to that. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are using Furikomi? It's been like 7 years since I've used a Furikomi for a major company. Oh my gosh, what? So yeah, we just, both sides of the world, right?
I just had to write a check for the first time in like a decade.
I thought you were going to say for the first time. I was like, sir.
No, not for the first time. It's been like at least a decade.
Right? You still have checks. I don't even know if somebody asked me for a check.
I had to actually order checks just so that I could do this one thing, which was get my passport. I had to renew my passport, and they only take checks.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I have to order specific. I have now like 6 books of checks that are just going to sit there. Like, I'm not going to use them for anything.
You never know. That could come in handy.
Right?
Maybe you'll need a handyman and he only takes checks.
That sounds sketchy, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into our first country overview. We're going to start with Japan. Not because of my personal bias, actually, because we want to start with one of the big countries, and we're going to leave Thailand for last because it might take the longest time. So we're going to look at Japan overall let me pull up a list of Japanese.
John, what are you doing? John, what are you doing?
Playing with buttons, and it's like this.
John, stop touching things.
Yeah, so thoughts about Japanese BL for 2024. My major, I've got 2 things. One is food. It's not like we're new to Japan having food in BL. It is, obviously there's a lot of food from before, like what did you eat yesterday and or dining tables last year, naked dining, which we rarely talk about, is also last year. So there's
a series. Oh.
There are those, lots of food, but this year was like the summer of food. There was just food everywhere, right? And even if food wasn't in the title, it was kind of there because like we had Perfect Propose where they are living together, but with the thing where one of them is really good at cooking, same thing with Living with Him. Living together, but one of them is really good at cooking, right? We had I Hear the Sunspot, which was really about dealing with the disability, but they started because of food, right? Sugar Dog Life, all food. So it was, we haven't seen internationally Mr. Mitsuya's planned feeding. If you do, I'm in episode 2. But there it is again in the name, right? Planned feeding. So that was a big thing for Japan this year, just food everywhere. Internationally, this one I don't think it came out here this year. I don't remember. But Let's Eat Together, Aki and Haru 2, which is literally just like a recipe book with some BL on top. It is so foodie that the cinema Cinemark is in a 7-story building, right? The cinema's on like floor 6 and 7. On floor 3, there's a shabu shabu restaurant. You know shabu shabu from Thai BL. It's a Japanese food where we cut pork really thin and we just swirl it in some water, dip it in some soy sauce, and eat it. Right? Swirl it in boiling water so it cooks in like 4 seconds because it's that thin. I went to an all-you-can-eat shabu shabu restaurant on the 3rd floor. Ate as whatever I felt like for 2 hours. Was so full, I thought I might die. And then I walked out the door, 3 steps to the elevator, up to the 7th floor, and 7 minutes into the movie, I was like, I am hungry. Because they had that much food, right? It's just food everywhere for Japan this year. So, yeah, that's one thing I had for Japan. And the other thing I got for Japan is that up until now, we have had like a line where all the sweet, fun shows are on TV, right? Some more serious ones might be in there, but the dark stuff was in movies, right? Cornered Mouse, Dreams of Cheese, and that kind of like, whoo, yeah, don't watch on a bad day. You will cry your face off. So, that was what was happening. And now the major one would be Happy of the End. And I was surprised that was a TV show, right? So I think we might see a trend of that in the future where we get some of the darker shows. We've seen a bit with Minors. What is the English name of Minors? Our Youth, right? Because I'm glad they changed that, because in Japanese and Korean, the original is Korean, it's Misene, which means minors. Oh. And in English, it sounds like
PDF files.
Petties are all everywhere, right? But yeah, so they changed that to Our Youth, which sounds so much better in English. And so, we get a bit of the darkness there. And to be fair, that's a Korean original. But the fact that Japan chose to adapt that into a series, right? We're getting some darker themes. Unicorn, Mr. Something Feeding, Mr. Mitsuya. Yes, I'm in episode 2. But yeah, so what are you guys feeling about Japan this year?
I personally think Japan, I don't remember specific ones because, like I told Yemi before we even started, I've done so many subathons, and so they've all blurred together basically every single series that I've watched this year. So I think the general feeling for me is that Japan has been hitting it out of the park this particular year. It was a little bit more hit or miss from what I remember the years before. But this year has just been banger after banger, in my opinion, and I hope that trend continues. As I've said many times, between South Korea and Japan, they know how to, even if it's shorter, even if there's not as many episodes and they're not as long, they know how to tell a story, and I think that is one very good thing that has come out of Japan in particular this year.
Okay. Thoughts from Topher?
I'm currently looking at a list of 2024 Japanese BL series that came out. I've seen one. So
which one have you seen?
Sugar Dog Life, and that's because we just finished it on stream last week.
It's true.
Or 2 days ago. Everything else, there's so many things on the list, and I'm like, oh yeah, that has been recommended, didn't win any of the polls. That's been recommended, didn't win any of the polls. I remember doing the first 2 parts of this, but I haven't done that one. So Osan's Love, I've not watched Osan's Love's Return, but I watched everything up to that point. I've got to watch the first 2 seasons of The Man Who Defies BL, but the 3rd season's not available internationally at the moment, as far as I know. So I don't have as much of an informed opinion about the Japanese BLs this year, other than I will say I feel like I've seen a lot more of the Japanese titles just in general conversations online. I feel like through the Twitter sphere and through the Drama Llama platform, in which if you're not already signed up, you should go to dramallamas.com, Drama Llamas with a Z, and sign up. But I feel like I've seen more discussions. Well, I've seen lots of discussions, but I feel like I've seen the Japanese titles appear more, where normally
I
my
love that the link is right on Topher's face.
Right? No face, Topher.
okay, it's fine.
Oh,
But-
Leon, what's Drama Llama, says Leon.
and
You're in there
then-
every day with Earth posters.
Yeah.
We know you know.
But yeah, I feel like normally I'm accustomed to seeing like Thailand dominating that sort of online discourse. So it was nice to see some of these other countries also have like a hat in the ring. Yeah, I've heard great things. I've heard great things about Sunspot. I've heard great things about Takata's Treasure. I also heard that, you know, if you put anything that's remotely a picture or an image of Takata's Treasure, you will get your entire life taken away from you. So I've just stayed away from it. But like, as far as copyright stuff,
Oh yeah.
I've heard they were.
I mean, I
extra when
just
it came
assume
to
because it's
copyright.
Japan, I just assume that anyways.
Yeah, I assume that anyway. But like, I've seen or I've heard that Takata's Treasure was like extra with their copy. I'm like, I just ain't gonna take any chance. It's fine.
They're like Pokemon and Nintendo.
I just don't need any of that right now. But yeah, so I feel like the public in general is really enjoying the Japanese series, which I'm happy about, because like most of I've watched a few Japanese series, but like with everything else I watch, they're from like 2 years ago, and I'm just getting caught up now. So it doesn't help this particular conversation. But I've always enjoyed the Japanese storytelling, and like I was talking on the stream the other day, like with the Japanese series, they're either super sweet and wacky and fun, or dark and raunchy and blah blah blah, and there's nothing in between. So like you either have cherry magic or you have the novelist pornographer, and there's like no in between. And I love the duality of it. I feel like the Japanese know how to tell a very succinct story, which I appreciate. And yeah, so I like seeing that they are as popular as they've been this year. I've just unfortunately not been able to watch.
Listen, you could watch it. You own your channel.
I am a slave
I'm going
to
to
the
have
polls,
to,
Sean.
right? I've got guaranteed reactions now for Guardian, but that's like 2 years of reactions, right? So when that's
I'm
done,
making my way through Guardian.
right? No, but I mean it takes 2 years to two reactions a month. Guardian's 40 episodes.
Oh God.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's like 2 years, right? However, when that's done, I'm gonna start putting you onto Japanese shows or something. Yeah. So the Japanese model is different, not just in 2024, but like I feel like our storytelling arc from Thailand, you know, we talk about the curse of episode 11, right? So it's just like progress, a little jump, and then go on. Episode 11, everything crashes, and then remake, right? Kind of thing. And Japan does not have that, because we recently just with our youth, like, oh, you're kissing? Wait, are you kissing? Why are you kissing? And I remember Topher having this with End of the World with You, episode 1. You're just like, right? So we just build our kind of our own model, and you deal with it, right? You're just like, anything could happen here. Anything.
I
at
love
all.
that though. I don't like
Right.
that. I mean, look, I mean, this is getting a little jump ahead of the gun, but
Lorelai says that we're gonna make Topher watch one and only one of every episode of every BL.
That has been the objective this entire year. They've been doing a great job.
Yeah, he's seen the first episode of like 97 BLs. Yeah, go on, Sean.
the
We
formulaic.
were talking about Japanese model.
Yeah, the formulaic is it gets stagnant, if I'm being honest. Like, and that has been the case with me and some certain Thai company recently. Where
I
I just
feel
kind
like
of like started, and then I'm like, this is the same thing. It's gonna be 12
swap
episodes, and
this
it's bop,
theme
bop,
Drag
and
them,
swap this ship.
drag
It's
them,
this story.
expose them.
No. But
Yeah.
but like they just like it's fine, and I don't like I'm not trying to hate on it or anything. Just for me, sometimes it's just the same thing over and over, and I'm like, okay, this all feels the same. I love you guys. Like I love you guys. It's great. Like you're awesome. I love your actors. Blah blah blah. Please switch it up a little bit. Please give us something. Make us guess a little bit.
Right.
So
yeah,
I appreciate the Japanese storytelling in that way.
Yeah, on copyright, somebody, Haria, mentioned copyright. And so Japan has a weird situation with copyright in that, so there's like 3 issues going on: copyright, privacy laws, and I forget what the other one is. But so for the privacy law, for example, anybody has the right, and I in theory this exists anywhere, but nobody does it. Like if you take a picture and my face is in the background, I have the right to ask you to delete that, whatever, right? And so nobody actually does this, but they go really hard on it, right? And so like they preventatively, like nobody sues or anything, but they preventatively go again on it. So sometimes you'll see magazine articles and they clearly have not gotten the permission of the agency. So they'll either have like a little cartoon that they drew of the famous person's face, or nothing, just no picture, just a little, that icon when you signed up for a site and didn't put a picture on that. So this happens so much with Snowman, with Meguru Ren, that was from My Love Mix-Up. His picture's never anywhere. I'm like, is Snowman really tough on copyright? I don't know. So yeah, it's just, it happens to major magazines, okay? So it can happen to anybody. Yeah. And another thing I wanted to mention that I didn't remember just now, BL is going very mainstream in Japan. Whereas, so Thailand, I feel like it's very mainstream already. Like you can be a BL actor and be huge and have like, tons of endorsements and that kind of stuff. Like Gemforth right now, just like endorsing everything, right? And for Japan, we've never really separated it. It's not like you're a BL actor or you're this actor or whatever. Like Tanaka Kei from Osan's Love is huge. The older guy, he's like a famous theater actor. He was huge before the show. Machida Keita is huge, right, from Cherry Magic. They were huge already. Adachi, oh my gosh, the Adachi actor. He is literally in a movie now, and his other movie comes out on the 10th. I'm like, how did you do that? He's got 2 movies that are going to be in cinema at the same time. 2 completely different movies. I'm like, dang, you getting paid, man. Dang. So yeah, and they advertise it during the Cherry Magic anime recut movie, and I'm like, so we're all going to that because we're all fans of him, aren't we? Okay, brilliant, advertising that there. But yeah, so it's going super mainstream, and the place we can see that is in the votes. They have these votes in the magazine, best whatever, right? Best actor as voted by the people kind of thing. And they just, like, throughout the year, they've been having them, and we've seen Ayaka is in love with Hiroko. I don't know the English names of anything, so I messed them up. And we've seen Perfect Propose pop up. We've seen Love is Better the second time around pop up. We've seen tons of different shows. And we just this past week had Best Kiss Scenes, and they had Cosmetic Play Lover was on there. Ayaka's in Love with Hiroko was on there. And the number 1 in the Best Kiss Scenes list of 2024 was Osan's Love. We're that mainstream that we took number 1 in a mainstream list, right? So yeah, we could see big things. We've got Netflix producing stuff, so for Japan, right? So yeah. Okay, let me check a bit of the chat. Let's see. Love is a Poison. That's my show. That's my number 1 show for Japan for the year. Oh, please give me an interview. Come out of the sky interview. Yeah, Love is a Poison was so good. And the Megaverse anime, that might be Tadaima Okaeri. I haven't watched it, but maybe. Yeah, and let's see what else. Warren says, excited for Piaf. Okay, yeah. Aussie Perth is working in Japan, which is why see him sometimes or talk to. He has a Japanese fan club, so it makes it easier for me to access him. Um, let's see, and oh, Pit Babe. Okay, let's talk about that a bit. Did you guys see the Pit Babe um, controversy just yesterday?
So much easier. Sorry.
I am not. How dare
Topher's
you?
just like, it's
I'm not
ASMR
that
time.
easy.
No, I just realized that like in StreamYard there is this like little comment section over here. It's been sitting on private chat empty. I've had like 3
What,
browser
really?
windows over here open.
Because you
with, like,
start as
YouTube,
default in private
stream.
chat.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I just wasn't looking at it, so like I just had 3 browser windows open on my other window, my other monitor. Like, okay, here's YouTube, here's Twitch, here's
right
other
there.
Twitch. Well, yeah, I know this
I do
now.
have them open on my phone, right? But
I see it now. Why are you yelling at me, Sean? Go
I'm
down.
not yelling at you.
Anyway, as Yemi was saying,
The Pit Babe Omegaverse controversy. For those who don't know, Omegaverse is a reimagining of the world where we have different types of people, alphas, betas, and omegas. And the omegas tend to feature a lot of female qualities and often can get pregnant. There are different types of Omegaverse things, you know, they're alpha verses and whatever, where you will see different types of relationship in them. But basically, yeah, the one of the standout things is male pregnancy in Omegaverse, right? The Pit Babe universe originally was an Omegaverse, and
allegedly.
yesterday or 2 days ago, the author said they're stepping away from that because it no longer aligns with their beliefs. Have you guys seen that?
I've not, but that's
Okay.
interesting.
Have you watched Pit Babe though?
I have, yeah. I've
Okay. Yeah, so that came up in the last maybe 30 hours about kind of. Sean, have you seen that?
I've seen it. I just haven't. If I'm being honest, it's all silly to me. Like it's just like not that. I think that outrage tends to be a little sometimes silly in certain regards. I understand why they did it, but it's part of the story. For me, yeah, I guess I have my opinions, but
Yeah, I thought it originally was the production team, but it seems to be the writer, which is
just
weird.
the writer.
Right. Like if it was a production team, I'd be like, why didn't you just make a different story? Right. Especially in Thailand. I feel like in Thailand, even more so than in Japan, everyone has read the book when they watch a show. Right. And it's a part of the way they make the show assumes that that's in part one,
Harley.
right? That
Yes.
it is he wanted Babe for that kind of supreme baby, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so my thought would be if it was the production company, if you wanted a story that was that without the Omegaverse, just make that story, right? Write that plot.
Right.
Or choose a different story if you don't want Omegaverse. There's a zillion
Yeah.
books out there,
Go back to
right?
university.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I don't mind university. It's just, there needs to be some balance. But now that it's the author doing it, it's even like a little weirder. It's like,
Yeah, that
it
is.
feels a bit like, in Korea, sometimes you get the actor becomes super famous and they're just like, I do be all that did not happen. That show did not, no, that was not a show that I did. And you never hear about the BL that started them, right? It feels a bit like that for me. And I don't care one way or the other about Omegaverse, but it feels weird that you made this thing, became known off of it, and then you were like, yeah, this doesn't line up with what I want to do. You're like, what? I don't know. That's weird to change in the middle of this. Like, I feel like you should have at least kept going for the second season. And if you never want to write Omegaverse again, don't. Right? But like to change it in the middle, and I don't know.
I mean, I don't particularly care about a Megaverse. Like, it's not
Me
a big
neither.
deal to me. I don't know, but because I don't think about it, I also don't know if, like, is it problematic?
Not in and of itself, right? If you don't like men portrayed as very feminine, it might be an issue, but that happens across the board in BL anyhow, right?
But that's all spectrum anyways. There are men who are more feminine, so I don't really see
Right.
that as a valid argument.
So I don't know, like it the first time, like I read in a Megaverse and I didn't know anything about Megaverse. I just happened to read it. I was like, and it's funny because the guy like runs away, right? He comes back with this kid, and like in my mind, I'm like, if this was a woman, this kid would be that guy's kid. But I didn't know Omegaverse existed, so I was like,
Yeah.
my brain didn't figure out that it could happen, right? That he could have been
Stole someone's
pregnant,
kid.
right? And when like by the end, I was like, oh, okay, that's when they said it, I was like, oh, that is what happened because everything was hinting towards that. But like I don't go out of my way. Still the only one I've read. I don't go out of my way to read them. They're there, but if somebody likes that, whatever for me, right? But I feel like it's weird for the author not to keep on that track for this story, right? If they want to make different stories afterwards, fine. But yeah, I also feel like it's probably like book people are probably going to be like, what?
Oh yeah.
And then I also think it's really sad for the actors when like people do stupid stuff around your show and now you have to face like, because in Thailand's model, they make probably as much money off of appearances and stuff as they do off of the series, right? So you're going to take a cut in your paycheck. Less people are watching the series. You're going to get less jobs as a presenter for whatever product. You're going to get less fan shows,
Yeah.
So the actors are the really sad link of this story, right? They didn't do anything wrong and they're going to see, paychecks dropping. So
Which we hope to help solve at Drama Llama.
Yeah, we'll write your Omegaverse story.
I didn't say that.
Give us your
I didn't say that.
he
We
wouldn't
will.
he
The
would
couch is
gladly
now
give
in
gun
Omegaverse.
babies.
I was talking about helping actors make money.
The couch is now an Omegaverse story.
Help Gun make babies, help Takia make babies. He's all about it. Okay, in chat, Japan lets their idols kiss. This is true. We have 2 bands with 3 main leads. And they're brothers. Takia from Minato's Laundromat has led 2 of his members into. So he's in Chotokyu, which is Bullet Train, and they have 2 other members. Happy of the Shigao. Sorry, was talking Japanese. Aloha from Tokyo ni April is, and Haru from I Cannot Reach You are also in Chotokyu, and they also have an ex-boyfriend role in the mini movie.
Maybe.
We're both grooms, so they got 3.5 members. And there's Takia. Hi, Takia.
That's right.
And his
can
little
show things
brother.
too.
Oh, hi, Andy.
Okay, you know what?
Oh no,
That's
it's a
it.
war.
That's it.
Wait. There's no way I don't win this one. Ah, my stuff is too far away. I'll go get that in a second. So, what is going on? What is going on? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. I have so much stuff
you got more.
upstairs. Y'all can't beat me if I go upstairs.
Thing.
Look at the kids. It's like, have you seen kids like, oh, look at this cool thing.
My other
Why are
photo
you
book
both
hasn't come
5
in
years
yet.
old?
I will not be beaten. The Fergalicious national anthem.
Yes, Warren, they were going to make
Yes.
Pit Babe 2.
Still
They are
Takia.
making Pit Babe 2, but they've announced that they're taking out that end of the story. It's going to be a race car fantasy story. I don't even know what that was. So yeah. Random. And then the other band that has 3 is we've seen 2 of them recently. They just came out of nowhere. They were one for the longest time, which is One and Only. We just watched their music video on Sean's stream, Savior, right?
Oh,
Because they have Takia's little brother, Naoya, Kusukawa Naoya, and he was in the series version. Koisuru tsumori wa nakatta. What is the English? I didn't mean to fall in love. And recently in September we had Happy at the End with Sawamura Rei, who is also in One and Only. And now we have Our Youth with Kenshin, Kamimura Kenshin, who is also in One and Only. So they have 3. And yeah, like, it's not a thing here. It's, it's not like idols do it to get super popular. They just do the show they're asked to do, right? It's not a thing one way or the other. Then they also don't hide it, right? We don't really have like really hammed up fan service. It's just a show. So yeah, it's a bit healthier.
it's just two dudes kissing. Get over it. No.
Right? Yes, Our Youth is good. Okay, yeah, so that was Japan. Yeah. So we did Japan. We talked about Pit Babe. Let's get into a bit of Korea. So full disclosure here, I have not watched anything Korean this year, I think, because I am always at war. I'm a linguist, and I'm always at war with anything that I don't fully understand. So I lean into Japan heavily because I understand everything, and Taiwan because I so understand. But Korea makes me mad because I should understand because it's like Japanese, and then I don't understand and I'm mad at everything. So I really don't watch Korean stuff. Sorry, Korea. I will get better. How are the rest of you for Korea this year?
Yes. As I said, like I know that I watched Korean series during subathons in particular. They all kind of blur together for me.
I feel like you've seen Jazz for 2.
I have it on my list. I actually have it pulled up to watch, but I haven't watched it yet. I did watch Love for Love's Sake? Yes, I did watch that. Love in the Big City
Love
was
is like
very
a
good.
cat. Oh, I don't want to admit that I've seen it. I
it
forgot.
bad?
Oh, it's weird. it's weird. And we have seen Love in the Big City. I've seen it with you.
That was good.
Sean. So I have seen that. Oh, we'll circle around to that because we need to talk about that too.
Do we?
Yeah. And the other thing I've done, actually,
So
now that I
with all
think
the
about it,
drama.
now that I think about it, I've seen a lot of Korean short dramas, right? The phone dramas that the West hates so much. I've seen all of them. All.
I didn't know those were a
yeah.
thing.
Yes, we will circle back to that too. So I will.
Circling.
We're circling, and then we're pouncing on our prey. And sorry, what? Yeah. So how are we for Korea this year? Yeah.
I've finished 2, and then I've like dabbled in a couple. I'm just looking at like a list of Korean BLs from this year. So like I also did Love in the Big City and Love for Love's Sake. I started Time of Fever, which was the spin-off of Unintentional Love Story, which I was really excited about, and I just haven't gotten back to finishing it. Chat. And I started High School Return of a Gangster, which I don't know if it's a BL because I've only seen 2 episodes, but it is in this list of BL, so I'm gonna say it is, and I enjoyed what I've seen thus far. They've been good. I've had a good time. A couple things I said, like so much of what I watch on a regular basis is stuff from like 2 or 3 years ago that I'm just now getting caught up. We just finished Be My Favorite, so I'm like, asking me about things that came out this year. I don't know. Ask me in 2026.
Listen, y'all just gotta stick to a series, okay? That's it.
Oh my god!
I'm taking over the chat. Y'all gotta stick to a series, okay?
We did continuous series votes, and it was 30 shows that Topher's in the middle.
Yeah, we go through 7 polls. to get to the
Right.
semifinals. Yeah.
So like, it's bad.
That
He's
is-
like, I
But it's
don't
not.
remember names. It's because you only watch one episode of 47 shows.
Yes, but it's not all the chat. It is also patrons. It is also patrons
Okay,
who are
but
getting their guarantee
whose channel
requests.
is this?
Well, no, because what I'm saying is like the patrons will request 1 or 2 episodes of a series. I'm like, great, I'll do 1 or 2 episodes of the series, and then they don't request anymore, or they'll jump to a different series next
For
month.
the record, I
And
have
then they'll jump to a
requested
different
all
series
of
the next month.
Guardian, so this is not my fault. This is not my
No,
fault.
this is not the Emmy's fault. I'm just saying,
Although
they will jump.
Venus is in the chat saying that it's my fault for showing up and offsetting the vote every single time I turn
Yes.
up in Topher's chat. The vote does something
Anytime Yemi and
completely
Leon
different.
are in the chat, the polls just all of a sudden Montego wins.
People are
or
like,
something.
this show hasn't won in 13 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Korea's been
okay.
cool this year. They've been cool.
Any trends or thoughts for Korea? I think this year, I am not sure. I feel like Unintentional Love Story was last year, but A Sense might have been January. I don't remember. No, I don't even know. I feel like this year we've been moving into longer spaces for Korea because Korea was very much a web based, webtoon on YouTube type thing, and now we're moving into different spaces for Korea. We're getting shows that would be in TV in Korea, and so they're on different platforms other than YouTube, and we've gotten longer than, Korea would have like 10-minute episodes back in the day. So we're getting slowly longer than that. And I think like it is becoming slightly more mainstream with Korea. I think that is, so moving back into some of the circling back, we had Love in the Big City had a huge protest. Not the movie, because the movie again is like with movies, whoever wants to go and see them goes and see them. But the TV show had a protest because it's on TV, right? It's on somebody's channel somewhere. It wasn't in like a secret space in the web. And so it caused a huge like protest in the city, right? People trying to get the TV station to pull it, trying to get, I believe, something that looks like a censorship board, I don't know, to pull it for, the content and stuff. So we did have that happen. But on the bright side, both the author and the actors and the company that was producing it, they were all just like, no. And they didn't take it on, which is amazing for Korea, because Korea will destroy your whole career because you were in a picture with a woman 43 years ago. Like, they will destroy you over nothing. So it was amazing to me that Korean people on this side pushed back hard enough that that series happened. Because when that started, I did not expect it to happen because Korea.
Korea.
Yeah, so let's talk about this Love in the Air. Love in the Air. Oh, dear Lord.
No, that's not. No.
No,
This is
I'm
the
sorry.
wrong channel for that conversation.
Oh my gosh. I had to record something with Love in the Big City, and it took me like 5 takes not to say Love in the Air. I just kept saying Love in the Air. So yeah, Love in the Big City. Yeah, y'all don't know my
Sean has left the chat.
Yeah, Sean was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
But Sean, you haven't even finished the series yet.
Yes, I have.
No, you stopped at like episode 12. There's still a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
nother
I don't know.
episode
I
left.
stopped on the very last episode.
There's
And
a
it was
whole nother
I watched like the first whatever.
You've not finished Love in the Air. You've not finished My Day.
That's not
You've
true.
not finished your tattoo.
You have not finished your tattoo. Get him, Yemi.
Sean needs money for
Drag
that.
him. Drag him.
Yeah. Yeah, so what are we feeling about this protest in Korea over
Yeah, it's all
Love in the
silly.
Big City?
That's what I think. It's silly. They're silly. I think that my opinions of Korea have shifted, and they're not exactly you're a fraud, Sean. Hey. I think I love the cinematography. I love the artistry that typically comes with anything Korea BL. I think I think that, as you mentioned earlier, there's a large Christian presence in Korea that I didn't know existed previously, and it all feels a little silly. It just feels silly. The fact I could go on tangents about that, but that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to get, I don't want to get people too riled up.
How about you, Topher? What are you thinking on this thing?
I mean, if anything, I'm happy to see that the company was willing to push back and not buckle under the pressure of whatever criticism that they were getting. Because, like you said, Yemi, they will ruin your entire career for something you did. This picture you were in 45 years ago or whatever. So, like, the fact that they were willing to stand to their guns and be like, no, we're gonna put this out. This is the story we want to tell. This is what we're telling, and it was a lovely story. I enjoyed the story. I think it was a very important story to have out there in the mainstream, not just for people of the community, but for people outside the community to get an outsider's perspective or get that sort of insider's perspective on just some of the more serious matters. And yeah, so I'm glad that they did not buckle under that pressure and they did continue to push back.
Mm-hmm. I'm also glad that this type of show has gone into this because, you know, in Japan, we wouldn't call this BL. We would call this LGBT. And LGBT is basically just queer characters in a genre, whatever genre, right? So this genre would be called human because Japan. They like it's just a drama, right? In English it would be drama, but we already use the word drama for a series, so we call it human. So this type of story, as opposed to BL, where it's, you know, shenanigans or it's just dark or whatever, and it's not really based on real world ideals. But this one is, so it's a good like snapshot of like real life for gay people in Korea, right? And I think that was an important thing to get out into the mainstream, as opposed to BL, which, like, I love shenanigans, but like I feel for the
restaurant,
for people needed to see this, right? People in the community and people outside, especially like because Korea is so closed off, you know, we had so many, we're having this kind of real story, and we also have His Man like showcasing real people, right? Where I feel like it's probably very secretive. It's probably very similar to Japan. Like if you're close with somebody, you know, but if you're not, like Barbados is a bit like this, because I have a friend who was like, I don't even remember, he was joking about his partner or something, and in Barbados we say, just when you're talking about your partner but not being specific, we say the people. So it's like, so the people walked in today and they were like, I want to eat this, and it means your partner, right? So I asked him about that in a chat. He was like, oh yeah, my partner's a guy, whatever. And I was like, oh okay, I didn't know that. But his neighbors all think that they're roommates, right? And that's the kind of situation that we would have here or in Korea, right? So I think it's, you know, an important story, again, for people to see it and just get used to the idea so they don't automatically just tense up when it comes out, right? So yeah. Yeah, the actor from Time of Fever was dropped over a marijuana incident. Marijuana is super
It's bad. It is bad.
It's super strict here. Like, don't. You probably could come back from killing people, but literally, this is a very weird, creepy story. Close your ears if you. There was a guy that killed an English teacher and ate her, and he wrote a book about it. And the book was a bestseller. Yay! But yeah, don't do drugs.
He didn't
Don't
smoke.
do drugs. So yeah. Oh, you know this story, Maria. I love that people know this. Japan. Okay. So that happened. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what were we even talking about? Korea. on that note, let's go into shorts because Korea has come out the strongest in short dramas. I don't think either of you have watched short dramas, so we'll just talk general opinions. But I have seen everything out of Korea in short dramas. So while I was not watching the TV dramas, I was very into the shorts because I'm just into shorts, right? That sounds like I like to watch men's butts go.
I was going to leave it alone, but I too am into shorts.
I think I'm more of a sweatpants kind of guy.
I've been known to be in a pair of shorts a time or two as well.
So yeah, the first one I saw was this one called Please Teach Me that was really good, about an idol who is, you know the idols, like they go to university and you're like, how do you go to university? You don't have time, right? Thailand and Korea, I'm always like, how are you in university? But he goes to university and, meets this guy and, there's a stalking incident and all this kind of stuff, but that one was really good. And then there's, for shorts, the interesting thing is because they're like 1 to 2 minutes long, sometimes they just don't bother to really have a plot. So you're just, what?
I told you at the very beginning.
Araya said that we needed a reference.
Oh my gosh.
I was responding to the chat. Anyway, continue, Yemi.
Yeah, so one of the leads was from June and June.
That's me for Sean, exactly, Venus.
Oh, the idol, wasn't he? Oh, he was. Not noticing. I'm so slow. Yes. So there was that. I originally watched it on an app called Top Shorts. This is going to be the problem with shorts because it's new. There's 57 million apps. So, and you can get like these 2 good shows over here, these 3 good shows over there. And it's like how we have Aichi, Gaga Ulala, and Vicky, but on steroids. So you just have that everywhere. The tall guy was in June and June?
Okay, but we want that to be Drama Llama.
Really?
For
What was
everything.
he playing? Really? Okay. Yeah. And now Short Time has gone like hard into this, so they are producing 2 or 3 of these a month, right? If you don't want to watch them, don't. But we can, I actually like short dramas because from the Japan perspective, only one set of them, three different short dramas were produced by a TV company. All the rest were produced by non-TV companies. So what it means is that without the short drama space, these shows would not exist at all, right? So I like that we're getting other people producing shows. And the other thing about this is because it's so easy to produce one, as opposed to a TV show, we are getting experimental spaces, right? So we had an Apocalypse one from Korea with the dude from, was it Milk? From Choco Milkshake. We had...
What? Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
Wait, so the app is Viglu, and I believe it's called Love in the Apocalypse. Let me go look. Yes, Love in the Apocalypse has somebody from... No, it's Choco. No, it's Milk. It is Milk. I'm going crazy. Right, it's Milk in there. So, yeah, so the Love in the Apocalypse, My Man's Man, which was... so girlfriend, boyfriend, secret boyfriend. That was fun. That was fun. But she
Sophie
actually
knows that very well.
Right. What?
I don't know what.
Oh my gosh.
Check out our former podcast for that.
Oh no.
My standard. Anyway, as you were saying, Yemi.
Yeah, we had Match Play, which was a sports one. And we had, on the Japan side, we had Actors High, which is very much giving I Became the Main Role in a BL kind of vibes. And it stars the guy from Naked Dining and Cherry Magic Second Couple. Yutaro? Is that him? I think it's Yutaro. Yeah, so we had a lot of those, and it's Buddy Boy is really good. Buddy Boy is really good. It's like very like questioning what is happening to me, kind of in a normal way, not like in a BL like kind of way, like, oh, what is going on? And they're in a small town, so it's like really complex. Yeah, so I enjoyed Buddy Boy a lot. Yeah. So yeah, they are interesting for me because I've always been watching them before BL got in there, and they're good for linguists. So because it's small, like you can watch the 1 minute episode and then you can go back and watch it again tomorrow. And so my Chinese is improving because they started in China, and I've been watching so many of them in Chinese. My Chinese is improving from just watching these every single day, right? They're Taiwan's too, but I think it depends on the platform you're on. So my platforms, like I've seen only 2 Taiwans. So I watched the heck out of this Taiwan that I don't even know what it's named. But it is good. It's complicated because the love interest is his aunt's arranged fiance. So it's a mess. It is a complete mess, right? I'm like, oh yeah, that is fun. Yes. So let's see what we're going into here. So Love in the Apocalypse was good. It doesn't have super a lot of a plot. It's kind of end of the world with you. Kind of the guy it's the apocalypse. He's just going to work. He's just like, I don't have anything else to do. I'm just going to keep going to work. Right? Yeah, so Sook Film for Korean shorts. I have not seen anything but by Sook Film. I do know their name and that they're on YouTube. Yeah, so all of these, if you are in a short space, Viglu and Short Time have the most Korean ones. So those are the names of the apps: Viglu, Vigloo, and Short Time with only one T, right? Have the most if you're in for Korean. On the Japanese side, the problem with this is that Japan forgets the rest of the world exists, so a lot of them aren't available. Like the app, you can't even download the app outside Japan. And the other thing is that Japan is used to paying for stuff. Like all the BL you see for free, we pay for. Like individually, not like a $4 a month. No, pay for that show, right? So we're used to paying for stuff, which means that the apps, unlike the Chinese apps where you have the option to just watch ads, a lot of them don't have the option to watch ads, right? You have to pay outright or something. So I haven't seen a lot of the Japanese ones for that reason, right? Secrets of Male Students, I have not finished. I got all the apps unlocked, but I haven't finished it yet. So Falling for My Boss was good too. Was that Falling for My Boss? I don't even remember. But yeah, they were good. How do you guys feel about short dramas entering the market? So neither of you have watched really short dramas, but what do you feel about this change? Jalen, CEO of Gaga Ulala, called it the next big thing in BL. What are you guys feeling?
I think it's fun.
Yeah, if it's experimentation, I think it's fine. I don't know that I would call it the next big thing in BL, but I think that there are other things that they should consider first.
Like
I've talked about that.
Llama.
No,
Drama
in
Llama
general,
is
I
the
would.
next big thing.
I think I don't know that I would call it the next big thing. I think that it's fine, but I think that the system that you have described thus far this is CEO Sean coming out now. I think that the system that you've talked about right here is not as sustainable. I think that they need to find a home.
Dramalama.com. That app. Not something.
I think that if it was if you're going to have something like this and you're going to make it like so super specific in one specific place, then it's just not going to be that successful. I don't know that I would say it's the next big thing. I think that that's a little generous.
I feel like a major thing here is that we use a lot of things in a different way than the West does. So phones have always been used differently here because both Japan and China. So China is huge, but the cities are like stupid, right? They're just like 7 million people trying to live in a space that really could only hold 500,000 people. And then you have apartment buildings that are 9,000 floors tall and they have limited space. Japan just has limited space. We're an island. Well, we're several islands, and 90% of the island is a mountain. So we're just stuffed into these parts that are not mountains, right? Fun fact, up until like 2 years ago, the greater Tokyo area's population was larger than the population of Canada. So it's just like everybody is stuffed in there, right? And so what happens is we don't have a lot of space. And so we've always used our phones, even before smartphones, as the internet, right? So we're used to just staring at our phones. Another thing with Tokyo and Osaka, the other big area that's out west, like people spend a lot of time commuting. Who can afford to live in actual Tokyo? Nobody. So people are commuting 2 hours a day from other places. And so they're just sat there. In Japan, you don't talk on trains. So they're just sat there with nothing to do. Phone, right? And so now this device, this genre that is specifically like geared for that. You've got 20 minutes on a train. You can't watch a full episode of anything, but you can watch all of these little apps, right? And so that is going to, for me, I feel like that's going to take Asia huge. It's not going to go international.
But that's not growing the actual industry, which is not the next big thing.
But like, I don't know how much like people look at the West when they think of these things. Like, from even like a money perspective, like the West is a drop in the pan compared to like what Japan spends on BL, right? So I don't know. When he said the next big thing, he was at Asia's Content Summit.
Sure.
And for Asia's Content Summit, probably the next big thing, right? Because you're going to have Taiwan, Singapore, a bit of Japan, the people that were in that room, possibly the next big thing, right?
I think that there are other things that they should focus on first. But,
right.
I mean, it's great for experimentation. It's great for all that, but I don't think that as an industry is the smartest move.
Yeah, I think it will even out because right now we have so many of them. So it will calm down to where we have like, I don't know, like 10 of them. And like these 3 you can count on for BL, right? Short Time is trying, like Short Time has like an English social media now. So they're trying to go after that, I feel like. Yeah, so it will calm down. I quite enjoy them, so I'm going to be staying there because I've been there before, even before BL was on there. But yeah, I do think the English speaking community is not used to that. You're not used to doing using your phone in that way, right? So I don't think it will catch on big internationally. But yes, Haria, they are very,
and especially with the younger generation, but.
It might with younger people, but a lot of people I've seen are like, oh, I don't like it. The subtitles are too small, which is true.
I don't think they like it. I don't think that they like it, but I don't think that they don't like it because of the depth and maybe the storytelling. I don't know that it's because they're not used to using their phone for these things. I think that I know for my own audience, I know that most of them watch my Twitch on their phone. I know that most of them watch my YouTube videos on their phone. So I don't know that it's necessarily because it's the phone. I think it's more to do with the storytelling itself.
Yeah, so we are making a trade-off with most of the stories, right? Some of the Korean ones are really good, and 2 of the Japanese ones actually were made into a TV cut. Right. So, and one of them was really good. I really enjoyed, I think it's called in English, Some Loves Begins with Mistaken Identity, about a twin, right? A guy was mistaking one twin for the other twin, right? But there is the potential to go into being an actual series as well. But I do think because we are so used to our phones that we're making that trade-off happily. Like we know, like the Chinese shows, as Saria said in the comments, the Chinese shows, they are, we have tropes in BL. It's a level up from tropes. They have taken the same story and swapped things. So you'll have the story, for example, my favorite Chinese trope is you'll have the genius baby trope, right? Which starts out with people either getting drunk or getting drugged, having a one night stand, right? So yeah, I'm like, Sean's gonna hate this. Having a one night stand. The woman is either then sent away or escapes away. She has multiple babies. She always has like 5 babies or 6 babies. They're all brilliant, right? And then they hack into their father's computer system or something and find their father. So this is the trope. The story goes like this, like every single time. The difference is like how many kids, which kids are girls, which kids are boys, what does the father do, what does the mother do, but the story stays the same, right? So that is a defining bit of the Chinese ones. I hope the BL ones don't go there, but the fact that there are so many of that same kind of story just shows that in China, there's potential to make that money selling the same story over and over again, right? So it is this is very ages specific. Things that would not work in the West are very working very well in short drama.
I mean,
oh, bye bye Mama Mochi.
That seems to be a trend in general. Like I've definitely noticed this. I've actually started talking to some people in China specifically. I don't know about you on your TikTok feed or anything like that, but I get a lot of like dancing groups and all this other kind of stuff on my feed at this moment. And what I've noticed, and in having these conversations, is they are very short-term oriented as far as company growth, as far as making money, that kind of stuff. So I can definitely see what you're saying in that regard. I don't know that it's. I would. Maybe it would be the next big thing for like a couple months. But I don't know that it's going to be the next big thing, period.
Yeah, I actually don't see it going well outside of Asia for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, might stick around for Asia. So we will see. We will see what happens. Okay. All right. So let's get into the Philippines. Again, me and my language war. I have not seen I do not go near the Philippines because I'm just scared of Filipino. It's
what?
So weird. Because literally, like, I'm much better now, but I used to freak out if I heard a language I couldn't speak. I would be like hyperventilating and stuff. So now it's much better. Ty has kind of calmed it down, but I really do not want to. I do not want to. So how are you guys with Filipino? There's Warren. Marahuya Project. How are you guys with Philippines this year?
I think the only thing that I've watched with the Philippines, unfortunately, is what Topher and I reacted to, which was a reality show. Yeah. I think that, unfortunately, the Philippines had this really good renaissance, during the pandemic, and it has unfortunately kind of just like withered out. There are some series that come out that are fine, but nothing that like blows the doors off of the industry, like Game Boys, like Gaia. And some of the pandemic ones. So I unfortunately the only thing that I have watched is the reality show from the Philippines.
I think Topher has seen maybe this is one time Topher is going to outshine us. Go Topher.
Not by very much, but yes, as the chat's alluded to, we did watch Sky Valley on stream. I started Marahuyo Project. I haven't gotten to finish it yet. Surprise! I'm shocked. Tover's not finished the series. No way. But yes, we did make our way through Sky Valley.
Okay.
And it,
Thoughts about where the Philippines is at with BL or changes you've seen, through
uh,
the years?
I think Sean pretty much encapsulated most of it. Like that whole pandemic to like maybe 2 or so years after the pandemic was really like this big golden renaissance era for the Pinoy BLs. And that's where to this day still some of my favorite just overall BLs came from the Philippines. And some of my most rewatched BLs, your Guys of Folliculas, your Game Boys, Hello Stranger, the one with the little dicks, the Quarantines. Because I can never remember the name.
I can't either. Honestly, it came to my head, the little face mask with dicks.
Yeah, like that's what I see in my head, and like I remember the story. Alec. Yeah. Alec pops up in my Instagram feed all the damn time. He's
yeah,
like 100%. I could not tell you the name of the actual series right now. Yeah, and then there's some others that were good, adjacent. That also were kind of like pivotal to like me and my channel and made some connections and whatnot, and I'm very thankful for that. But in the last, I don't know, 2-3 years, I feel like I've just heard less about the Pinoy BL series. I feel like they're just not as aggressively on the radars, but I think with as much stuff as Thailand is putting out, and then with as much heavy hitters as like Japan and South Korea putting out, a lot of the Filipino stuff is just getting lost in the shuffle, or it's just not getting the attention. Not to say that it's not good, because again, like Marahuyo Project, from what I've seen, it's been very well received, and I remember enjoying the episodes that I have seen. The Day I Loved You, I think, is another one that's been relatively well seen.
I have seen one. Is that this year? Okay.
I don't know if that was this year or not. I know I started it this year, but that's another one that like been well received. But like I had never heard of it until someone was like, "Hey, we should look at this." Like a random patron or someone might have pushed in my attention.
And
but
probably, I feel like it's DC.
I feel like they're still making good content. I'm just not hearing about it. And all of the stuff that I am seeing pushed to the forefront is kind of just average. Not bad, just average. So like in comparison to like you're seeing, like, yeah, we'll see like Thailand's amazing series. You'll see Thailand's bad series. You'll see Thailand's middle series. But like since Thailand is putting out so much, you'll hear more about those good series where it's like, all I'm hearing about from the Philippines is here's this average series. Not that it's bad, not that it's good. It was an enjoyable watch, and then I won't think about it in 20 minutes once I think about it. So I would love for the Philippines to get, I don't know, to get that attention again, that get that public, zestiness. Like when I started seeing them talk about like Game Boys 3, coming out earlier this year, or, working on that earlier this year, I'm like, yes, here we go. Where the resurgence is coming, the Pinoy BL resurgence is coming. I'm finally get Guys of Follicula season 2. It's never gonna happen. I can still dream. I'm like, but I'm like, the resurgence is coming. And then like, I haven't heard anything since. And I feel like, is it happening? Is that still a thing that's going on? I don't know. So yeah, I feel like it's just kind of, I don't hear. I don't get to hear what they're doing, and it's unfortunate because I love the Philippines. Is where I started. That's where I started my BL journey, and it will always have such a special place in my heart. And I love this Filipino things in general. So yeah,
Game Boys is still one of the best stories in BL.
Oh, my aversion to language, man, because I know Game Boys is a classic. I know Guys of Follicula, but I need to know more Filipino, right? Like right now.
No, you don't.
What do I even know?
That's a great thing.
I freak out though. I can't do it.
So like,
we need to get Yemi a therapist.
Like, they between English and Tagalog and so many other languages where it's just like, oh yeah, you're
probably that sounds like hell. It's heaven if I understand the languages and hell if I don't.
Well, you understand English. I feel like you can understand enough Spanish that
Yeah.
Tagalog
I'm so
will feel
scared.
familiar.
I'm so scared. So like I know like the randomest collection of words. So I need to work on the enough Filipino that I don't like want to like run screaming into the river. So yes. Yes. So Topher, teach me Tagalog since you've been studying Filipino.
Oh. Oh.
Kumusta? Okay, I know that. I know that.
Salamat.
Oh, salamat. I feel like I also knew what was
Lalaki.
it?
Lalaki.
Can you treat it as a pre-level 1 Tagalog class?
Yes.
Whew, I do need to work on my Tagalog, but like right now it is kind of in behind Thai because Thai is more functional for my job at Dramalama because Filipino actors can generally speak English. I don't need to use Filipino to interview them, right? But that's not necessarily the same with Thai. There are a lot of actors that speak English, but there's a section of people that we don't have access to, and we don't have a linked Thai translator yet. So like, booking interviews would be a bit iffy without that, right? So we don't. I feel like I need to get Thai on board first. Mandarin is iffy, but I do have people that I can just be like, hey, you free? Come translate this Taiwanese actor. I have a ton of Taiwanese people that I can do this with. And they could just listen to my horrible Mandarin as well. So that's not a problem. So I really need to work on Thai first and Korean. And then Tagalog is there. So I do want to interview See Your Love cast. Thank you, Unico. But sometimes like... So weird fact. I procrastinate recently by writing Japanese companies. And so like every time, like writing in Chinese is much scarier because I work in Japanese, right? And so I'm like, I should email See Your Love. Oh, let me email this Japanese company instead, right? So yeah, that's how that is going. I need to get See Your Love and Eternal Butler people. And what's the new one? The new one with Parker Mao that will come out in February, which I have forgotten the name of. Exclusive Love with the funeral director, right? And I've seen Parker Mao in underwear. We need him. Actually, he calls my name every morning. I have an alarm that I won. I won a voice message from him, Weija, like the four mains from the first VBL series, Stay By My Side and You Are Mine. And so they yell at me every morning, holla at me! And I'm like, I've won! Every morning in my life. So yeah, we do, Sally, need a Thai translator on standby, but we don't quite have that yet. So for now, it's people that we know that speak English. We're approaching people that we know to speak English. And hopefully they pay us attention. We're not quite big enough to pull in the huge names paying us attention yet, so it's kind of fun trying to wade through the the system to get to them, and so far
so like if anybody has connections, let us know.
Right, so 2 of the 3 interviews we've done, one which you don't know about yet, is like just a personal, I know somebody kind of thing. And then Mech is just Mech. Mech is amazing. So he's very open, right? So it's not the hardest to reach him. But yeah, so we are kind of limited by that. And I really need to not be limited by that, especially as a linguist. Okay, so yeah, that was the Philippines. Oh, by the way, chat, if you have something that you really want to discuss from this year or something, just feel free to mention it. Okay, I'm trying to keep my eyes on the chat, but but somebody will probably see it and we can get into it, right? Another thing I wanted to talk about, since it's come up a couple times, is the expansion of BL. Is this sustainable? Because I feel like in Japan, so Japan was one of the last places to kind of open back up after COVID. And the second it opened up, the whole of TyBL raced here and had 7 zillion fan meetings. Like, literally, I'm going to a fan meeting in January and I've seen everybody like twice already on accident. Like, I've never purposely gone to see Pon and Puin, but I went somewhere and they were there. And that's how often they're here. Like, I just see them at places, right? I became a fan of Lycan. I refused to, I was like, I'm not going to be a fan of Lycan. And then they kept turning up where I was. So now I'm a fan of Lycan because they turned up where I was. And so that was the model. But now I feel like a lot of the events I've been going to recently, I've seen a smaller audience. Or I also feel, I know we don't have, like before we used to have like a lot more fan events. Like I feel like last December there were like 8 different events from Thailand. You had to pick, like Pit Babe and the Sign fan meeting were on the same day. I was like, and I went to Pit Babe, but because they advertised first. So I just happened to have already got Pit Babe, right, when the Sign came. But no, I actually really like Nut. So he was a sweetie at the show. So I literally bumped into Tony, Daddy Tony, on accident. Like I was like just waving at them, backing away. Ah, it's Tony. So, and then I freaked out and he laughed at me. It's like, and I couldn't speak and he was like, like, yeah, that happened. Embarrassment. Yeah, so we used to have a lot more. And now we're calming down. And I wonder, like, I feel like it's going to even out soon. But what do you guys think about the expansion? Because last year we had more than 200 shows across the BL board, right? I think it's a little less this year, but I am not absolutely sure. It might be around the same. Do you think we can sustain this model?
Thailand seems to be doing a great job.
Yeah, I think
the model quantity. We're not talking about just not quantity at this point. Yeah, I guess. Sure. If they wanna, they can. If they want to slow down, I won't be upset. You know, give me some time to catch up on things.
I think it depends on the industry goals. I think it is sustainable, but I also think that they need to figure out ways to expand to some extent. I think that these one-off series in particular are limiting, and I think that at some point they are going to stagnate. And when they stagnate, then that means that they're going to have trouble doing these other things. They're pumping out a lot of series, and that's not a bad thing, but I do worry. And this is where Venus is talking. Yes, this is kind of my biggest point in that I think that what they really should start focusing on is building more seasons, more of a franchise potentially into some of these, because they're a very popular series. Don't run it into the ground, but they should think about it more interconnected, sustainable, longer term things. I mean, I've said this before, like with some of these in particular, Only Friends is trying. That's true. Like Pit Babe, yes.
I was thinking
they are starting to do this, but they need to start thinking about it longer term. Like I forget what series it was that I was watching rather recently. There could have been like 3 endings in one season. They could have ended it at 3 different points, and I'm like, it just keeps going. Like, what are you doing? Like, this would have been a great story if you just ended it here and then saved those. What do you mean?
I do feel like Thailand is a bit attached to, this is our model, right?
Yeah.
We have to go 12 eps. Every ep has to be an hour and 10 minutes or something.
Right.
Like, they're very attached to this specific model, even though I feel like most of their BL isn't TV tied to TV. There are some stuff that you know that air on TV and then are also on the internet, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, not on a TV show necessarily, so it doesn't have to be tied to a specific length or anything. And I mean, there's the option to like chop it up, right? Do 2 45s instead of an hour and 30 or something, right? There are different ways you can do it there, but I think they're very attached to that
and that's
model.
fine, okay, maybe for the short term, but at some point, I think that it's going to stagnate, and that's the problem. I think Japan is doing a great job in their experimentation, but they're not also really going out to other places, are they? Like the actors aren't, unless they're with a group. So something has kind of got to change, or the industry will stagnate, and then losses,
Yeah.
and then you're not going to be able to do the same kind of stuff.
It is pretty rare for Japan to do fan meetings. So we actually just had one yesterday, and I was mad because I was at soccer. I was like, and then they lost. I was like, how dare you lose? I gave up a fan meeting for 2,500 in Akasaka to be here. You can't lose. So, but yeah, so it's rare. Minato's Laundromat had one. Akasaka had one. I think that's it in the time of being in BL for shows to have stuff. Normally, like an individual, if it's an actor, they have their fan meeting and they're called the BL person, their BL partner. And if they're in a group, they just have their regular shows, right? So it's really rare for the TV show to have like a fan meeting. As for seasons, like, this is something that has always existed over here, that the story, they just sell a separate story every couple months or whatever. For Japan, I think it's the fact that like we are super busy and hate vacations. And so we can't necessarily commit to 10 at Tuesday. We don't know that we will have 10 p.m. on Tuesday free every week for like the whole year, or we'll have it free next year. Like, so I feel like that's one of the things that pushes seasons not to be a consideration here. And I don't ever want season 2, because if you have a story set up to end, like, it's like, sometimes they force a movie to have a second movie, and you're like, nope, you should have stopped. It's like that, right? So if the story isn't set up for seasons, I don't want seasons.
Sure.
It works for Only Friends because it was like we told these stories, now we're going to tell these other stories with the same model, right? So I think there are stories that lend themselves to that, and they should try to get more of them. It would be, good to see if they could get more of those. And I do think there's a bit of stagnation because, especially with, I know a lot of people are very comfortable in happy ending space, but if a story doesn't warrant a happy ending, to drag it there is really weird, right? So I feel like if we're looking at comparing the two finished stories of people with disabilities we have for the year, we've got Last Twilight that finished in January, and we've got I Hear the Sunspot that was in summer, right? And I Hear the Sunspot is more satisfying for me because that felt true to life. He found a way to work with his disability and he's thriving, right? The Last Twilight thing is weird because, like we said it in our unexpected endings, right? We were aiming for regaining sight. We failed that and we thought it was done, right? Okay, we failed this. Now we're going to find a way to live within our capacity, right? And he did. He had his perfect life without his sight, right? Yeah. And then we went back. So
Tinkerbell.
Right. Yeah. And because the happy ending, as perceived by the able-bodied mainstream, was having sight, right? And I found that was a horrible, as I said in the unexpected endings thing, that's a horrible lesson to teach people that don't have some, some sense, or they don't have the use of their legs or something. Like, oh, he's gone back to wholeness. That was the moral of the story. That's horrible, man.
Yeah.
So I feel like that desire to always go into happy ending space is also a big drawback for for how we're stagnating, right? We don't want you to suddenly send somebody out for salt
No.
But, but, like if the story was going that direction, then leave it where it is. Like, if if we're dealing with assassins and somebody gets shot, that's a part of that story. That feels natural, right? So yeah, I don't know if the obsession with happy endings is helping us. How about the expansion outside of the screen? Like we're seeing like more interaction with the West. We're seeing people posting in English on Twitter, and
And
in other
Drama Llama.
spaces. And Drama Lab. We don't have any actors posting on. Maybe we do. Who knows?
We
Excuse
actually
me,
wouldn't
you have-
know.
You have Sean.
Oh yes, we do have three
Well,
actors
me.
posting.
Oh, I guess
Three
technically.
BL actors.
Three VL actors posting. Oh my
We do
God.
have the credits.
Oh my gosh, we've all been in a BL. That's insane.
Yes, we are superstars. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Leon says, I keep hearing about Drama Llama, but no one's explained it to me. Drama Llama is the future of BL and GL. It is a space, a safe space. We're not taking the red flag Delulu over there. Yeah, only inside the show, right? Not in the real space. And it's your social media for all things BL. It's your space to chat. It's your space to find your people. It's your space to find everything that you like. And of course, our YouTube is, analyzing BL, telling you about some of the tropes, finding interviews with some of our faves. Yeah, watch out for an interview in January-ish, maybe. Maybe we talk to somebody. So yeah, that's Drama Llama. So if you were not familiar with it somehow, despite being on the Drama Llama YouTube right now or in Sean's Twitch, that's what it is. If you happen to accidentally come across this video somewhere, that's what Drama Llama is. Okay. Yeah, Haria says, I hate the finale of Last Twilight. It ruined it for a lot of people, actually. Yeah, we were all in a space of acceptance, right? We had all gone there with Day. Like, this is okay. We can deal with this. Life is okay. And then, whoop, we have Yemi Superstar. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. So, random. For those of you who are here right now, I made you a song. Because this is what I do. Make random songs when I should be doing other work. Procrastinating, right?
Okay, Music Power Hour.
So I've made a song to thank you for your support of Drama Llama. Whether it's that you have supported us financially, whether you're here on stream, just making comments and keeping the chat lively, whether you're on the Drama Llama's site posting pictures of Earth every day, whatever you're out here doing, we are so thankful to you for being here, right? So, yes, we have a Drama Llama random me. So here is your song to thank you for joining us. Okay. Thank you for joining the herd.
Dum, dum, dum.
And my brain goes blank.
No!
Oh, okay. Let's go again. Thank you for joining the herd.
Dum, dum.
Hanging out in this BL world. We're loving you. You got the right kind of D-Lulu. And if you post a message on the Drama Llama's homepage, you might see you would get a like from me. And the comment just might say, thank you for joining the herd. There's your song, people.
Yay!
This is
And
what I
off
was
them
doing.
grandmas.
Right? Off them grandmas. I was supposed to be recording a video. I was like, oh, there's a song in my head. Yeah, so there you go, guys. This is random stuff you will only get at Drama Llama. People making songs. Like, have your other social media ever thanked you with a song?
Yeah.
No, they haven't.
No. Yeah, so
I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but I was friends with Tom from MySpace back in the day.
oh man. Yes. So
For all of you young people out there,
I was like, what's MySpace?
everybody was friends with Tom from MySpace because as soon as you joined MySpace, he was your friend.
MySpace, I've not heard that in a hot minute. Oh, thank you. I cannot sing. Topher's the singer, but
Not all of that.
yeah, I exist. I'm just loud.
Oh, stop.
Still Limbo says that they love your voice. I think we should just
I saw that. I doubt some of their judgment, but it's fine. I will take the compliment. Thank you. Still in limbo. ขอบคุณนะคะ arigatou gozaimasu. Yeah, so how do we feel about BL and interaction with the West? We've seen way more interaction recently. Fan meetings, English Twitter. Do you think this is going to grow? What are we thinking?
It's definitely gonna grow. Because
I mean, we can only hope it's going to.
because of us. That's what we're hoping to do. But yeah, I think so, and I think it needs to. You can only grow so much within a confined area, and that's true in any country, right? The ideal is to expand internationally, and if you don't, again, you're going to stagnate and etc. So I think that it needs to survive ultimately long term.
Thoughts, Topher?
Yeah, I think on the current trajectory, I don't see why it wouldn't continue to grow and continue to expand. Like you said, things have they've made their way to the West. They had their first couple fan meets here, like Jimmy C and whatnot. So, like, it's a start. I don't know how successful they were because I was not there. I had to work, unfortunately. I could not go up. But, like, hopefully it is the start of something new. Sorry, every time it pops in my head. But hopefully it is the start of, more attention on this side. Obviously, like Sean said, Drama Llama is going to be one of the catalysts to make that happen. And we see it. We love to see it. Yeah, I hope.
I mean, our goal is really to be the Netflix for BL. I mean, like, we want to do the things. We want to make it much easier for these companies to not only find their audience, but to give their audience what they want, whether that's timely subs, whether that's, interaction with the fans, whatever. Like, that is our
International releases.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of things that are a little bit under wraps, but that is our goal. We want it to be the place for BL. We want it to be not so scattered, not so like, Yemi, you talked about having so many different places to go for these little series and stuff. I'm like, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. I don't want that, especially as somebody new, like, especially when I was coming into BL, like, I had no idea where to look. I had no idea where to find these things. That's terrible. And I want that to be like, that's the dream. That's the dream. Have a place where we can all just kind of congregate. We can all find the things that we're looking for and the people that we're looking for. And I think in my opinion, I sit with the numbers. I have to look at the numbers. I have to tell people about the numbers, more businessly people about the numbers because they care about that stuff. And I think for BL to grow and to expand, I think that these are some of the things that need to happen. So that's our goal.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think for Thailand specifically, because Thailand has been very much like selling to Japan. And I think Japan has got a little bit of fatigue going on. And literally, like, I'm seeing somebody in a couple hours and I don't know who.
Oh,
Oh,
Because it's
blind
either
date,
right
yeah.
or golf, and I don't know who. I don't remember because one is today and one is tomorrow. And I'm not actually going for them. There's a countdown party with F Hero, who is like a Thai rap legend. I'm going for him, and I literally don't know who I'm seeing today. But like in January, I will see 5 pairs of GMM TV artists, and I've seen all of them before. Right? I haven't actually Chris and Singto I've seen separately. So I haven't seen them as a pair before, so I technically haven't seen them. But, we have seen everybody. All of the mainstream everybody's, we've seen them. There's a set of artists that GMM TV never brings, so I've never met like Oh and Boom. No, they never bring them. I only, because of Only Friends, met Neo and Mark, and they haven't brought Neo back. Poor Neo. He was so happy. He's like, it's my first fan meeting at all. Not even in Thailand. So he's not like international. He's like, my first fan meeting. I'm so happy. But yeah, so we've seen everybody. And so they need to expand into markets that haven't seen everybody, because GMM TV will take the same set of people and go everywhere in Asia, right? So Asia's seen them. Unless they have new big names, or pretty much unless they have new big names, it's not going to catch Asia so much anymore. And so they need to go, like this last time when they sold the tickets, they sold tickets and then they sold tickets again. So I was like, oh, all your tickets didn't sell, right? So that says to me, like, whatever the audience they were expecting, it was smaller than what they got. And so they need to move into a lot more foreign spaces, which is what we're seeing with, Jimmy C did their tour, and people, Europe, Italy, people are always in Italy. So hopefully they will become, because for me, it makes more sense than just going to Italy. It makes more sense to go to Italy and France and Germany while you're there. Like it's cheaper than coming, back and then going again. So hopefully we will see more of that. Haria said fan meeting on 5 fan meeting in January.
nice.
International vlog and live stream. Yes. So if this vlog, how, depending on how this does in the aftermath on YouTube, not vlog, but like more podcasty style, maybe in the future when we're a little less busy, because we're all terribly busy right now, this might be a thing, just hang out once a month and chat about stuff that's happened or specific topics, right? All right. So, are there any companies that have started to recognize? So, the funny story, once we got an interview request out of the blue, like by the company, they were like, "Hi, would you like to interview these people?" And that came into Sean. And then when the interview happened, Sean was like, I don't know anything about this interview.
That was like months.
When did this happen?
At least half a year.
Like you introduced it to us. So that was a thing that happened once. So that, I think that's the only time we've really been approached.
I've talked to people at GMM TV, but
They approached us.
no,
Right.
I approached them. I think,
Right.
and then like I started climbing up the ladder of talking to people, and then we like met on meets or something like that. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah.
Is
So
that a new
they
dating
like,
app?
And what?
Meets, is that the new gay dating app?
No. Google
dear.
Meets,
Oh,
where we have
You
all the
left-
meetings.
you left
it's
off
Meets.
the important adjective.
it's meats, Topher, but it's with an A. It's like, it's a new,
Meats.
come get this meat.
That's it. We're making it.
Well, just like Facebook has Facebook dating, that could be Drama Llama's.
Meets.
Like,
Oh
dating.
God.
Oh my gosh, Drama Llama meats with an A.
God.
Oh
my
no. No, that would go sketchy real fast.
We need an official live. I can't make any announcements here, but Yes, I agree. Unico also, yes, I agree. That's all I will say. I can't. I want to spoil. I hate having secrets.
It's so fun.
Secrets
Me in
are no
interviews,
fun.
it's killing me sometimes to not talk about the interview. I'm like, oh, like
La,
before
la,
Mac,
la,
I
la,
was like
la.
freaking out. I was like, you guys, I talked to someone. But like, yeah, it is tough, right? Especially when you sort the interview out way ahead of time and you just know it's there. And you're like, oh my gosh.
I will say that I may or may not have worked on specific aspects of those types of things, Unico, and Huria.
Okay, let's get into Taiwan again. If you guys want to talk about anything,
The only
stick
one.
it in
That's
there.
all you need to know about Taiwan.
It
It's a masterpiece.
was
I don't
good.
care what you say, Leon. It was a masterpiece.
Oh.
That's all you need to know.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
y'all's turns.
That really was all we needed to know. Sean, what are you thinking on Taiwan this year? You've seen See Your Love and The Only One, right? And,
Yes. Did I say
there was
so?
another one. What was the other one?
What was the other one?
Unknown.
There was Kaseki last year.
Kiseki was November. It might have finished early this year.
That's always confusing to me because I count it like if it's any time, if it touches this year, it's part of this year to me.
Right. That's what last Twilight was also across the border. So, we can count it.
No, I don't care. Whatever. I know
yeah,
technically
how was
it's
Taiwan
not
for
so.
you? How was Taiwan
I
for you
liked-
this year?
I think that they had okay things. Taiwan is always interesting because they're like they like bring really interesting stories that would probably be a little bit more popular in China in general, and I feel like they give us a different flavor than other. They get a little interesting sometimes. Like we have, like I think Topher said that Japanese series are either really, really cutesy or wild, right? I feel like Taiwan tends to go to the wild side a little bit more often than any of them. And for example, I'm looking at a short film title here. It's a Taiwanese that is listed in the Taiwanese BL, and it's called To Pee or Not to Pee.
I saw that. I was like,
I
Sean
have
is
not
going to
seen
talk
this.
about this.
Hold on.
I have not seen the show.
Hold on. What channel is this on?
We might
Pee
need.
or not to pee? That is
on iTunes?
clearly the question.
Oh man, we need to find that somewhere. It's a movie though, so I don't know if
it's a short film.
available. Yeah.
I don't like. There's so many questions just from that title. Are we talking about Smex and we're debating? I don't know about you, but Topher, I haven't
Oh my
exactly
gosh,
been
I'm
to
reading
zero
the
in a
synopsis.
relationship, but
Bring me into this.
To Pee or Not to Pee is a Taiwanese short film about a gay couple navigating the challenges of incontinence in their relationship.
Oh.
What?
Okay,
Okay.
so Gaga Ooh La La. I don't have Gaga, but I will find a way. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have Gaga. I don't. It's probably actually available here because Gaga. Most things are blocked for Japan because Japan we just do everything in Rakuten, right? International stuff, and Japanese stuff is just on TV. You don't have to look for it; it's there. So yeah, woo. To pee or not to pee, I will need to make that a part. Let me write that down. To pee or not to pee. It makes me feel like very erudite. Oh man. To pee or not to pee. Oh yes, we will get to that, Venus. Yes. I've written it down here, so we will get to that after Taiwan. Yeah, so for me, as you know my usual account is BL Japan Taiwan, so obviously this is my space. Yeah, and this year, like a big thing we saw was getting the Chinese anime into Taiwan, which is something I've been saying forever because we can't have gay stories in China, right? Sell them to Taiwan. There's like no language barrier.
Yeah.
Just it's
Yep.
right there. Like, we could have been doing this since The Untamed went wild in 2019, right? We could have been here. But, so we had two, like, big names of the year unknown, and the only one coming out of the Chinese Dame, right? And it was amazing. Now, bear in mind, I love Chinese romances. I feel like they put into character and world what they can't put into romance. So I really do enjoy them. However, like, if you can have the romance be there on screen, you know, instead of Victorian, like, oh, she stared at the nape of his neck. No. Instead of that, like, I prefer that, obviously, right? Thoughts on an Untamed remake?
Neck napes myself.
Right, napes are nice, but like sometimes we would like the actual story, right? We did see Sean almost get banned from the nipple talk. There was that. Nipple talk is very real. It's in a very real space, you know, of hanging out in this club where the owner is gay and does drag, and so the space itself is friendly to that, whether or not the patrons are all gay or lesbian or whatever. So some people in there are straight, and we're discussing topics with relationship to that, right? So like in the first episode, we're discussing marriage around, you know, the inclusion of lots of nipples. There is a topic that's actually happening in the background that we couldn't watch because we were afraid of getting Sean banned. But that is an interesting space that we're going into. We also had Let's Talk About Chu on Netflix, which is one of the couples is a BL couple. And I don't feel like they're like so much not the main. It's just like a family and they're different couples, right? So there's an interesting real space going on in Taiwan. And I've always felt for Taiwan as someone who has been in... I've been in Japanese, Korean, and Taiwanese dramas before I was in BL, right? And I have always felt like Taiwan was real, sometimes even to their detriment. Like, they will be real, so real that the story is not storying. It's just like we're watching someone's life. So, but I feel like that's a good thing for, you know, BL goes wild, and it's good to have that counterbalance, you know, where you have... Like, nipple talk for me is like Sex in the City Taiwan, right? Meet Me at the Blossom, yes, was another dame that we got, but that was in the Thai side, right? Yeah, and Taiwan, this year, like, for me, we had the last two VBL series. So we had VIP Only and Anti-Reset. They weren't as good as the first two for me. But yeah, it's okay. I met all of them. They're lovely people. Yeah, the leads are all lovely people. And we had First Note of Love on Gaga Ulala, which this was interesting because it's a Gaga Ulala original and it's also a Thai collaboration. So, you know, we've seen a lot of collab this year as well. So I enjoyed First Note of Love. I enjoyed them digging Charles 2 back up and putting him back in a BL. I was happy for that. Topher is mad that he was playing a 19-year-old, but it's okay.
Because he's not 19. And no crusty ass wig is going to make me believe that he's 19, but that's neither here nor there. Sorry. That is a 30-year-old man at youngest. And you are not going to convince me otherwise. I'm sorry.
Right. It did look weird with him sat against like what is clearly a 13-year-old. Like that, you are not 19, dude. You are not 19. So, but yeah, it's BL. You let go of some of the things. It's okay.
Pretend.
Right. Yeah, and now we have Eternal Butler and See Your Love going on. I'm enjoying Eternal Butler, fun shenanigans. So we'll see how that goes. And See Your Love is good. Like, way better than like we're in this space with disabilities this year. And this is one that's well depicted, right? There is a scene that you two have not seen yet, so I will not talk about in episode 9. But it is like, whoo, Ooh, my heart,
Does it
right.
involve Eugene?
So it's not about Eugene. Eugene is not shirtless in it. So calm down, calm down. Yeah. So Taiwan this year has given us some realness, has brought us some dame, has and has done their regular BL duties. I'm happy all around for Taiwan. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see Taiwan grow a bit. Cuz maybe numbers wise or something they're lagging a bit. But Korea this year is they had some stuff. So maybe Taiwan is
I
kind
feel
of
like 2023 was a bigger year for Korea.
right. So it
Then
and maybe set against 2023 it looks small, but it's not that small, right? So yeah. Yeah. And we're seeing like a lot of the directors coming back. So I think only one I want to say only one. The director is the director of Your Name Engraved Herein. But I am not sure. It is either that or unknown. Let me go look it up. But we have some of our legendary directors and stuff. We don't get the actors coming back so much in Taiwan, but we have the directors coming back. So we're seeing a certain type of consistency from the type of story that we have, right? So that's good. And of course, we have the goddess Limpei who writes everything. Wrote Kiseki, wrote Trapped, screenplay Trapped. So, she's also everywhere. Yes, I am not, let's see, making up lies. It is the only one that he directed. Okay. Whew. Okay. I'm like, I am so making up lies. I don't actually know. Well, yeah, it's good to see that consistency from Taiwan. So hopefully we'll see more of that in 2025. All right. And the director of Unknown also did things. What did he do? I don't remember. Oh, We Best Love, right? So we've got some of the big names coming back for us, right? So, yes. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. So, Untamed remake. I don't know that they're doing a remake. We are getting a stage play in Japan. I've already applied for tickets. So wish me luck.
when is that?
I think the actual show is in March. You apply for tickets really far out in Japan. The lead is the guy from Perfect Propose. So he's going to play Wei Wuxian. And the Lanjan actor is a guy from, you guys have not seen this, but there's a show called Fudanshi Bartender. It's about Fudanshi is a man, Fujoshi. Jo is woman, Dan is man, right? So it's a BL obsessed man who's kind of plotting against his, like, the people that come into his shop, like, ooh, you would go good with you, kind of, that kind of thing. So he's the lead from that is going to be Langjan. I feel like the Jan Chan actor is also somebody, but I've forgotten who he is. So yes, we will have an Untamed stage play, and I hope that leads to more Untamed stage plays. Maybe even an Untamed musical. I would love an Untamed musical.
Yes.
Right? Because we have a Cherry Magic musical coming up in April. So yes, I would love that. Let's see. So GL is the next topic that is popping up in the chat. I don't know who's playing Shui Yang actually. Let me go look for the cast in a second. But yeah, GL. So GL expanded. It's probably the biggest expansion we've seen outside of short dramas, right? GL just blew up this year because we're used to like having 2022, I think, was the first time we saw a proper GL as opposed to a story with lesbian leads, right? And that was Gap in 2022. And now we've just seen like a ton of them from Japan, Korea, and Thailand. We haven't really had any on for Taiwan or Philippines on the small screen, but I think we've had movies, right? which we don't see because they're movies. Let's talk about GL. What goes on with GL? Unico, I also don't actually watch GLs because I like avoiding girls. Which, yeah. But Ayaka and Hiroko was really good. I enjoyed that. And we have a new one coming up in January, Call Me by No Name in Japan, which is it's interesting. She finds this girl in the literal dumpster. They're university students, right? But she finds this girl just kind of thrown away in a dumpster, and they play this game where I don't even know how this would come up, but like, you date me until you can guess my name. Which I'm like, I don't know where that plot came from,
Did I
but
say
I
that?
want to watch this. It's random, right? Japan. So I want to watch it so bad. So if a GL has a really good plot, maybe, but normally no. How are we feeling though about the expansion of GL? Any really good GLs you've seen? Yeah, what are you feeling?
I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to really watch too many. Again, voting wise, the ones I'm definitely glad that there is an expansion. I think that that's a great thing. Yeah, I can't really speak on it though because I just haven't watched too many of them. I think I maybe
Any
have
thoughts so
watched
far?
one, but that was maybe last year.
I love my girlies, and I love that they are getting the attention. I love that we are kind of opening up that market a little bit more to include those stories. While not every one of those stories is my favorite produced, because without naming names, there are some series that I get really excited about looking at, like pilot trailers and what, like, oh, this is going to be and then by the time it actually got created, it was a completely different show, and then it just ended up being like a normal run-of-the-mill BL series just with girls. I was like, but that being said, I still feel like it's important that the ladies have those stories too, because like obviously the BL industry has been around for quite some time, and we've gone through all manner of stories. You've got your university stories, you've got your high school stories, you've got your office romance, you've got so many different genres and subgenres of BL, and now there's just so much to choose from. It's like, yay, selection. No. Everything is not going to be for me, but it will be for someone. So like now, I feel like with a lot of the GLs that are being produced right now, they're not so much for me because they feel kind of akin to some of those high school BLs, this kind of BLs where I'm like, I've already done these. But for people who have not already done this or who really love that sort of thing, I've made it no secret, I'm not a huge fan of high school and university BLs, not because they're bad stories, just because I'm not in high school or university and I don't relate to them. I'm a grown-ass adult who would like to see some grown-ass men put their lips on each other. So some of the more popular BLs that are being put out right now, or GLs that are being put out right now, feel more akin to that stuff. So they don't really tickle my fancy as much, but I'm glad that we have them for the people whose fancy will be tickled by them, if that makes sense.
Okay. Comment from Still in Limbo. They don't allow girls to be too spicy, right? Yeah, this is a big thing of why I don't watch GLs, because like I am not the girliest girl in the West. In Japan, I am Godzilla. So girls are super like people put their makeup on to take the trash out. It's that kind of world. And I haven't worn makeup in 14 years. So yeah, that's where we are, right? With GL. I will say that GL, I feel like, is benefiting a bit from BL having done the legwork, because there's some, like right off the bat, somebody said DC is the expert on GLs, right? All of my GL watchery is with DC, so I literally, like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know for them, I wouldn't know anything. he did one from the Philippines, maybe. So yes, this is the extent of my Filipino watching. Also DC. Like, they introduced me to everything. So, Sleep With Me, and the main character in that is in a wheelchair. So, immediately, GL just has this diversity to it. And I think that is because, we've had time to do the legwork in other spaces, right? We didn't have BL actors in a wheelchair, right? We have never had a BL main lead in a wheelchair, as far as I know. So GL is putting, benefiting from some of that work, I think. And we also have some pretty strong stories, like DC again was watching Petrichor, and it's the story of a serial killer, right? So you've got some proper, like, CSI type stuff going on, and then there's just girls there, right? So I kind of like, there are two different spaces. The story where, like, you're very much into the romance, I enjoy that, but it's also really interesting when you have a very, like, properly done story and there's a romance there, right? So like Laws of Attraction that you haven't seen, but that kind of stuff where you have, like, a murder, or a serious, like, show where they're having a competition or something going on in the background, and it's so big that it's the main story in a way, but there's also the romance there. Yeah, so that is two of the things that I think that are biggest, strongest things about GL that we've got. They're benefiting from the era that they came out in, right? Whereas we have BL coming to small screen in 2014 and coming straight off the page, straight off of a yaoi page, which yaoi is wild. It wasn't even meant to have a plot. The name literally means, it's Yamanashi, Ochinashi, Iminashi, right? Yama is mountain, literally, and Nash means no, right? So there's no, like, peaks in the story. Ochi is literally fall, but it also means, like, the punchline of a joke, and Imi is meaning. So you don't have any ups or downs or any meaning. It's just throwing two men together, right? That's what yaoi is. So, like, when when people complain, it's like that. It's like, it's the name. It's the literal name. It says we don't have a plot, right? Yeah, so it's fine if it that exists, but now we're in a space where we have choices. So and GL is benefiting from coming into this space in the recent time, so they don't have to only do that. They have a choice, right? Another thing about GL for me, I feel like it is still fighting with gender norms, because while BL was specifically designed, yaoi was specifically designed to disrupt a gender norm, right? The gender norm of super men being in power, crushing women, that kind of stuff. And then you make men, like, one of the things about an uke, which is another complete tangent here, but in English we say the top and the bottom, right? In BL, we don't say that in Japanese. We have other words for top and bottom, real life top and bottom. Seme is from the verb semeru, which means to attack. Uke is from the verb ukeru, which means to receive, right? And so seme is an archetype, right? Like a hero and a villain. When we use the word hero in regular conversation, we mean someone that saves something. But when we use it in the conversation of a book, it just means this type of person, and they have a certain set of traits. So a seme, what is Sean's hand up for? Sean, what's going on?
What's tachi mean?
Oh, you know it? Oh, that's the real word for top.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you know. Now I'm scared. Where have you been?
Something in Japan.
Right? Sounds like he's been on Dramalama Meets. Yeah. So seme. So this means for us in Japan, it's completely not a matter of top and bottom. It's a matter of the set of traits, right? And so a seme is like big, bigger than the uke traditionally, right? We've moved into a different space, but they're like angry or tsundere or something like that, right? And then you have your uke, who's small, maybe a little more feminine, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't put us in top and bottom space at all. They happen to be a top and a bottom, but it's more a complete archetype. Random diversion. Yeah, so I feel like the BL was created for the uke, the purpose of the uke, where a man is not powerful, right? Because the women were so used to having to listen to men at work, not in the house. In Japan, weirdly, like, we have this thing, the wife is in charge of the house. Anything the wife says about the house is golden. But if you're outside of your house, men are in charge, always, right? And so fighting against that. However, GL doesn't have that same fight in it. And so GL is limited by the way that women are treated in Asia. So it has like the reverse, going on. GL is true to what happens to women. And so women can't be too spicy. Women are supposed to be this. Women are supposed to be for men. Women are supposed to have kids, And so like I feel GL is a bit limited by that right now. And so as we were asking about spice, they can't be spicy because they have to be girly, right? They have to be cute. And that's a real thing in society, right? Like I do not hang out with girls because they're always like, dekinai, nanka tasukete. And I'm like, ugh, what are you doing? Why do you sound like that? You have a regular voice, So yeah, GL is suffering a bit in that space for me. Okay. All right. Finally, we're at the big wig. We're going to Thailand. Let's talk a bit about Thailand.
They're huge.
Right. What's going on with Thailand? So much.
Gay stuff.
Gay stuff, yeah. Gay stuff.
Chaos in Thailand. I agree. That's it. No, I think that there are. We've talked a lot about some things in Thailand that I've personally had problems with. Weddings and BLs. That's a good point. I think that there's a very big emphasis on the formula currently, and that's going to work for a little bit, but I do worry about it long term. There are some really good ones out there, and I think that those are the ones that kind of took off. We think about OnlyFriends, less formula, a little bit more real to some extent. I think that there are others that could have been good, but just followed the formula a little too much and kind of just fell off. What was that? I also think we've run into this must be 12 episodes and we'll have 3 endings or to hell with us or something, like, or we're going to whatever. And it's just, I think that I would love for 2025 to be a little bit more experimental in that way, maybe. To go outside of the box that they've kind of created for themselves.
Yeah, I for the box that they're creating, I think now we have a space where we are completely obsessed with having a second couple. I don't like second couples because 9 times out of 10, it's not about the second couple. So they aren't. I feel like if a show has like maybe 50, let's say we're doing a very romance show and there's not much going on in the background, it should be like 50% first couple, 25% second couple, 25% story. What we get is 80% first couple, 10% second couple, 10% story half the time, right? And I feel like that's not doing justice to the other part of their story, right? The other thing I feel like with second couples is that they they're throwing them in there to introduce new couples half the time, and so they don't even care about their story. They just want to be like, look, this is the next set of actors we're bringing up, right? So I don't like the need to have a second couple, because they don't do them justice often enough, right? If you want to put a second couple, make them a story. Have their story be good. Make them have part of the story, right? We've got some older ones like Why Are You? That is like peak second coupleism, right? But that doesn't happen. And so like I prefer, the model where we don't have a second couple at all if we're not going to do the second couple well, right? So I'm not a fan of Thailand's obsession with the second couple right now.
Second,
right.
Nowadays.
Ships are the problem, because I understand that it is very much a money thing, right? Because, and this is not a BL thing, by the way. I did not know this until I went to the BL symposium, and there's a guy called Arch Bunak from Thailand. I think he may have grown up between Thailand and Japanese, because Japanese is perfect. But he said that this happens with, like how we have certain sets of people. Like if you see Helena Bonham Carter with Johnny Depp, you're like, ooh, this is going to be crazy, but amazing, right? And it's like that. They have like these sets of people who appear in movies a lot, man, woman, right? And, rumors start about them and stuff. And that moved into BL and went wild. It's way bigger in BL now than it was before BL. But this is not a BL issue, right? Not as in, like, it didn't originate in BL is what I mean, right? And so we have had GMMTV come out and say it's not about the quality of the shows. It's about the engagement you have with their artists, right? And that is a bit of a problem outside of Thailand, because we don't have any engagement with their artists physically. Generally, they're not popping up at our malls. And we would like to see a good story. We would like the story to develop in the best way for the story, not just because we're in episode 11, so all hell has to break loose. Not just because like, oh, people don't like it when the couple break up, so we have to keep them together. We talked about it in our unexpected endings, but Only Friends, for a minute there, we were like, this is going to be something new. And then the two established couples ended up together, and the one not established couple didn't, right? And that didn't feel so true to the story that they had been telling, right? So I am not necessarily a fan of selling the couple. I understand it. We're going to see the same thing with Osan's Love, because we already know that story from Japan, but also it's Earth Mix. There's no way that he's going to end up with anybody but Mix, right? So, yeah.
Might end up with me or Leon.
Oh, Leon wishes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not really. Mm-hmm.
I'll say that I don't hate second couples or anything like that. I think that it provides opportunities for what we talked about earlier in branching off and making more series, like we see with Boone and Prem, right? Getting their own series and spin-off from
Until We Meet Again to Between Us.
Yeah, so I think that there's opportunity there for it. I agree with you that they don't often give them their due or the proper screen time or the proper story, but I think that there is that then that opportunity for that spin-off to occur and create a good story based off of those very popular second, third, fourth couples. I generally have a problem with shipping culture, and well, I mean, to some extent, I don't even like, in my mind, I don't like, I know that they're a ship, but I still don't like, I don't know, think of them as a ship. I think of them more as like, these are individual actors who work together. And clearly we see how that works, because we just had Jem on a podcast or like on a show or something talking about him and Forth already having the discussion about when they grow up, they'll split ways, right? Like they're not going to work together anymore. And people were freaking out about it. I'm like, dude, what? That's just growing up. What do you mean? Why are you freaking out about that?
They're 12. They have so much time ahead of them.
I also feel this, and I think it's something in me in general, because like when I was a kid and you'd see your stars like dating this, people be like, this person's dating this person. I'm like, I do not care. And like, they're not dating me. I mean, if I did they wanted to date me, I'd be fine. But
Hey, gun.
I don't. I legit don't care. So like, what happens for me is like, there's only one ship that I care about the two people equally, and at least equally, and that's Chris Singto, because, and funnily enough, I came into them, they were already split, so because Chris Singto was not in GMMTV, and so I fell for them separately. Chris is the reason I go to BL events, because I discovered them randomly on one of his music videos, and Singto is Singto. Sorry.
But also, hi, Singto.
Hi, Singto. So yeah, I need to speak Thai so we can get that interview as well. He speaks some English though. I don't know how much. Yeah, and so all of the ships, there's this one guy that I really love and this other guy that's there with them. Like, they're okay. Like, I don't like trip over myself, right? And so
Topher and I tend to split them. So
right. So it doesn't do that much for me, but it sells in Thailand, so it's going to be hard to get around that, right?
For the time being,
I want to
anyways.
look at a point that AJ brought up, and they said we're getting these series of a bunch of couples. So we've had we've got Perfect 10 Liners going on right now. We had We Are before that. We've also got Forever You. I haven't watched any of these, but we've got these mega series with usually four couples and telling each story. I think this is a spin of what Sean was saying about series having second seasons, so you get to stay in that world. But I don't know. I think Forever You is being well received. We Are was either love it or hate it from what I saw. And Perfect 10 Liners has been like, apparently, up and down,
haven't watched any
right?
of them.
First story was not so hot, apparently. But neither of us have watched this, but I think well done, that could be really great, but they're just, again, leaning on the ship. Like Forever You doesn't seem to be leaning on the ship, and that's why it's doing better. But the Perfect 10 Liners feels very much, as someone who hasn't watched it, like they were leaning on the Force book ship in that story, right? As opposed to giving them a story or having them, it just says We Are was too many couples wanted to like it but couldn't stay interested, right? And you have to put in the work if you're going to be jumping around a lot, right? Like Untamed has a massive cast and people fall into it.
Episode log.
Right? And same thing with Word of Honor. Massive cast. Sometimes you're like, who was this dude again? They pop up after 30 episodes, right? And it's still like all the character development is amazing. If you're going to have a ton of people, you have to put in the work. You can't just stick all the people in the story. So, yeah. What other thoughts do we have on Thailand?
They're very Thai.
Haria says We Are is just a compilation of ships. It really is, right? So
I've only gotten a couple episodes in, but I've said since episode 1, like, I don't need this main ship. I'm sure they're great. I'm focused on these people over here. Give me more of these people. I've already got side ship syndrome when it comes to. And I got episode 2. I'm like, yeah, I don't need this main ship. They're fine. They're great. Whatever. Show me these people over here.
That was the first, I particularly like Huin, but that was the first year that I actually finished with Honda and Huin in it.
I feel like
I
other
hate to say
people
that,
said
but-
similar things in the
okay.
chat.
I'm a bigger fan after having run into them accidentally everywhere. I am now a bigger fan of Puin after Sadistic. That just like I was like, ooh, tingled in places that should not tingle. So
Oh,
I was like, oh,
my
I'll forget
stand-in.
my age for that.
Listen, don't get me
that
started
voice.
on that one.
My
Yeah,
stand-in
so-
was a show that happened. That happened this
It
year.
was a
too.
good beginning.
Mhm.
I enjoyed my stand-in actually. So
That's it. Get out of here, Yemi. No, I'm just playing.
this is I
Yemi
know
is our
sometimes-
resident love the toxic stuff. That is Yemi for us, okay?
So okay, I'm not a fan of the way that stuff happened between Ming and Joe, but I think it was a good story, right? So I'm not like I'm in love with Ming. No, Ming is horrible, right? Tong is also horrible. So it's just like Joe is just faced with horrible. Like Joe's a good guy, right? It's like you caused me to die, and like oh my god,
You were literally locked up in the basement from Ming. Dude, what are you doing? Get your shit together.
There are things that I'm sorry doesn't come back from.
No, no.
There's a show. This is how I got into TBL actually. This mainstream show in English, in Japan called Hana Yori Dango, and we will get to that. Yes,
I have opinions.
Hana Yori Dango, and it's been done in China and Taiwan as Meteor Garden. It's been done in Korea as Boys Over Flowers, and it was done in Thai as F4. This is how I got into BL, from a mainstream series that is a Japanese series. But the main character is these four rich guys and this girl that refuses to bow down to them. And the main character is horrible in every incantation, particularly in Taiwan. But like he does some stuff and I'm just like, you are just never recovering from this. Like I can't, no matter, there's certain horrible beginnings that you can forgive, but like there's certain things like, if you, I don't know, stalk somebody with a knife, you're not coming back. You're not coming back. How are you coming back from that? How am I ever supposed to, like, even if I don't love you? So other than the Taiwanese version, I don't love this character, but I'm like, okay, whatever. The Taiwanese version was like, no, go drown in a pit. I don't like you. You cannot have her, right? So yeah, there's stuff you don't come back from, right? And I feel like Ming, as much as I love the overall story and I love the show and I think the show is well done, I don't know how Ming came back. Like
He didn't.
he did for Joe. Like
Okay, well,
like,
Joe was clearly a little brain damaged from all of the trauma.
how dickmatized must you
Blunt force
be?
trauma to his head from being hit by a baseball bat.
Yeah,
And falling
that's
off
it.
a cliff.
And falling off a cliff,
Off a cliff
and
to his death.
the fact that he was probably punched a bunch as a stand-in.
Him, the stuntman. Yeah. So yeah, I was never a fan of Ming, but I can be not a fan of Ming and be a fan of the story. The story is well done, right? So I love the story.
I knew they were gonna make them come back together
Yeah.
and be together and all that stuff, but at the same time, I'm just like, this does not feel like it should be that way. It just doesn't feel like it just doesn't like this
And
doesn't
it just
feel
gets
right.
worse
Maybe
and
we shouldn't do this.
worse. Like he makes all the wrong choices. You just watch him
He's
go down.
literally looking at the door to die versus going back into the hospital room with Ming, who's chained him up to the floor. I'm like, dude, just die. Just
Little
die.
heaven.
This is the best
Heaven is
option.
waiting for
Okay?
you right here.
Why is this a decision you're trying to make right here?
And the thing is, too, I did not watch it live. I actually like speed watched it before Mech's interview so that I could, sound like I knew what was happening. And my Twitter was just like, "Oh my gosh, Ming!" for like 8 weeks. Why Ming? And I was like, oh dang, who is this Ming the entire time, right? Like they didn't even mention Tong. Like Tong was doing horrible stuff, but it doesn't matter so much because he doesn't pretend to care about this dude, right? So
right.
He's just over there doing his horrible stuff. He doesn't have anything to do with Joe. But the whole time it was just like, Ming, you had a chance right there. Why did you? Right? So yeah, people didn't want Ming and Joe to end up together in the chat. It felt more natural that they wouldn't, but you know what? In a way, it does feel natural that they did, because Joe is Joe. Like
So,
we see this in real life. You're like, my cousin. Oh my goodness, why are you? But what can you do about it? It's their choice, right? So it does, in a way, feel natural that
Yes.
Joe.
Come on, Leon. What does love make you do? Love makes you do stupid things. Give me the list, Leon. It makes you do stupid things. It gets you handcuffed to a banister. It will fuck up your credit. It
Throw you
will
off a
uh,
cliff.
throw you off a cliff. Get you hit with a baseball bat. Not choose the person who you should have been with. Soul. If it'll kill your grandma if you're not
Oh.
lucky.
Right.
That sounds.
I mean, I think that's more of a Topher thing, but
Yeah, my love will kill your grandma.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so like I said, it feels real in a way, but not the best choice for Joe at all, right? Maybe Ming goes on to be a fantastic person, but I feel like there's just stuff you don't come back from, right? Death, literally, you usually don't even actually come back from it. So yeah, he caused your death. How? Well, yes. Okay, yeah. So that was some of what was going on for Thailand. Anything else about
I think that
Thailand?
what came up was GMM getting all of the actors.
Oh yes, I did write it down and then forget completely about it. Yes, so GMM TV signing all the actors. I think this is foreshadowing. We're going to get more of those mass couple shows, because how can you not have them, right? Another thing that's interesting is last year, I don't remember the breakdown of shows, but we had about 5 or 6 shows that weren't BL or GL. And this year we have one. I've forgotten the name. I have to go look it up on Drama Llama. But it's the show with Nanon in it, where the amnesia type thingy.
Yes, I remember seeing the trailer for it.
Right. And that's the only one that isn't BL or GL this year. So we're going into a space where GMM is going hard into BL and GL. Even though they've always kind of been the name of BL and GL, they've always had other stuff going on. And this is the first time we're seeing them go so hard into that. And that's part of them acquiring every BL actor ever. One of the problems I'm seeing with this, however, is that we've already talked about GMM TV's tendency to prioritize engagement over a story, and to feel committed to having to have things end happily. And so I think the types of stories we get is going to take a hit if GMM TV is at the helm completely, right? Yeah, so those are my 3 things for GMM TV. We're moving into way more BL. We're moving into multi-ship shows, and we're gonna take a hit for the type of shows we get, and the diversity, the endings that fit the show, etc. What do you guys think about GMM TV getting into more artists? Ooh.
Where do I sign up?
As Jordan
GMM
would say,
TV hiring.
Yeah, what do we feel about GMM TV getting into signing more artists?
I mean, for any artist management firm, that's kind of, I guess, part of the goal. You want to have as many diverse artists under your label so you can continue to appeal to as many different markets as you can, and this, that, the other. I just hope that GMM TV actually puts the time into managing the artists, if that makes sense. Because, yes,
Small
we're
fish in
collecting
a
Infinity
big pond,
Stone.
right?
Yeah, we're collecting all these artists like Infinity Stones. So oh yay, great, these artists have somewhere to go. They have some, but are we gonna put them in a show? Are they gonna be a lead? Are they just gonna be some random side character? Nothing wrong with being a random side character. It's great, but you have so many artists and you have this many shows. You can only feature so many people in a series at one time before it starts to feel claustrophobic. And I'm like, too many people, too many faces, too many names. I can't keep track of this. So I worry a
Especially
little.
if you're not doing it well, right?
Yeah, and they tend to like to recycle some of the same sets of people, which again I understand. They love their money making shifts. They make their money, and at the end of the day, they are a business. They are making money. Um, but like, do I need 15 Force book series this year? No, nothing against Force book. Nothing against them. I love, Force. Sit on my face. No, 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 no. Book, have your turn too. No, 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 no. But like, do I need 15 series with them as a lead or them as like the second ship when I've got like 45 sets of other artists under the GMMTV label over here who are not being utilized? So that's kind of a worry I have, that these people, yep, we've got them under the GMMTV umbrella. Are we going to actually do anything useful with them?
Because we have seen recently, I feel like there was a time, and I've only been in BL for like 2-3 years, so 3 years. There was a time when they announced the series and they made most of them within the following year, but now we're seeing like that it announced to making them, more of them are moving out past the year, right? So we have more shows that were announced in 2023 that haven't been made yet, right? There've always been those ones, like Be My Favorite, like had a cast change and it was like 2 years out. Nobody even remembered it was happening. And it was funny too, because I swear GMMTV will have a fan meeting in Japan and then announce stuff. So it like got announced a week after Chris went back to Thailand. It's like, y'all be just grabbing our money, man. Sheesh. But yeah, so they have more of those shows that are just, we announce it in October 2023 and it happens in January 2025 is becoming way more common, right? Because we're literally getting, speaking of Chris Insingto's X Morning is coming next year and was announced last year, right? And they already said that Gem Force story is going to be in 2026, right? That they just announced. So I don't know. Like, I'd like each artist to get at least one story a year, right? I don't want them to have their stories way out. But the promise, like again, the way the system works in Thailand, the promise of the story is going to get them money as in appearances and presenter fees, right? So that's, I don't know if it's a necessary evil, but it's an evil we have to deal with for now, right? So it is what it is, right?
Will
Yeah,
say
I'm not
that
a fan.
I will
Go ahead.
say on the business side, monopolies are never good for consumers. Ever. They're great for the business. They're never good for consumers.
And it may not be good for the workers in this case either,
No,
right?
no. It's only good for the business. The
No,
biggest,
you can't, Leon. No, you can't.
I just saw it. You'll take
You
50
leave Jung out of
Earthling
this.
series.
Dunk can go over here wherever he wants. You leave Jung out of this. Man, it's beautiful.
Pulling
Go ahead,
at
Sean,
your
sorry.
neck. Oh no.
oh my god. All right. Monopolies are never good for consumers, workers, etc. Look, maybe they'll be fine. I personally don't like the fact that there is a production company that is also housing artists. I don't think that's a healthy system long term. I think that these actors should be managed separately. My personal opinion, that gives them a little bit more freedom to pick other series that they might like or something like that. The beautiful thing about this system currently only benefits GMM, if I'm being completely honest. Great for them. Maybe okay for the system as it is for now. I don't know what I think it's a little unknown for long term. I agree I think that they need to start thinking about the future and bringing in younger actors and that kind of stuff. But you have to train them. You have to train them. if you find some promising talent, then you have to work with them, not just throw them in a series and hope that they do well. You have to invest that money. You have to bring what?
Like, what work with them? We don't need that. Just throw them in there. They're pretty.
They're pretty.
Right?
You
Your
need to
face
work
is
with
pretty.
them, though. I mean, look. I mean, you need to work with them. You need to have the proper amount of staff to run the productions. You have to have the proper amount of writers. You have to have the right of cameras. You're adding all of these actors, and that's great. Do you have enough to sustain it long term, and do you have enough time to continue to produce these series? Because in my mind, that's a question mark. That's a question mark. And if you're paying for these actors' salaries, these actors to be here, which is probably going to be a significant amount, do you also have that same amount of money to have the correct amount of staff to continue this work? That means managers. That means the people that you don't see on the screen, right? The sound guy, the camera people, the editors, all this extra stuff, whenever the majority of your money is going to these actors.
So I think there's a lot of stuff in Asia that is relatively questionable in the West. Like, now that you mentioned enough money to support stuff, food trucks, right? We think of them as like, if you don't do BL or Asia at all, you don't think of them at all, because that's not a thing. Can you imagine trying to call up Warner Brothers and be like, I would like to send a truck full of food? They'd be like, that's a bomb. And they would not let you do it, right? But that's the norm in Thailand, not in Japan, but it's a very Thai norm, where they found that their actors, and this sounds horrible, the origin story, the actors weren't fed properly, so they got a food truck. The American solution would be talk to the company, like, what are you doing? Why are you not feeding our actors? Right? So they sent a food truck, and that has become the norm for fan clubs of people in actors in Thailand to send food trucks to sets, right? And I'm just like, that is really the company, right? I can't see any way that's not the company that should be doing that. And so I think, like, in Thailand, there's a set of expectations, or a set of norms that we don't have, right? There's also the norm that the show doesn't necessarily make that much money, and the money is in appearances, right? And so, also that. And so I think, like, they're not driven to necessarily have everybody be, again, in a good show. You just want them to appear enough that they can get presenter money, right?
Sure.
So, because and it's normal for every production company to be a management agency. We just saw Wabi Sabi stop doing that, right? It's just normal in Thailand to have your management be your company, and there are bad things to that. Like, if anything happens with your company, you have to leave both your management and your company, right? So yeah, it's not the ideal situation, but it's the situation that we have in Thailand, and I don't know how much there is that we could really do about it. Well, when Drama Llama gets big, we'll just make our own.
That's just it, right? Like, I'm when I talk and when I speak in particular, like, I have to, in my current role as, founder and CEO, all that kind of stuff, I have to think about the future, and is this sustainable? How can this be sustainable? How can this industry grow? Because I have to talk on that to people who don't even know anything about BL, quite honestly. And they don't necessarily care about BL. So I have to be able to put that into terms of how is this going to grow for them. And I have to think about that stuff. So for me, I think that it has worked thus far, but I think that it is a big question mark as going into the future. What if GMM TV, God forbid, doesn't have enough money to sustain this? What happens to everybody in GMM TV, all of these actors, management staff, all that kind of stuff? What happens then? How does that impact the entire industry, especially now that they've been gobbling up all of these actors?
Yeah. Let's look at some comment. It's like the old Hollywood system. It is, with studios and contracts with stars. Audio needs to be better. Yeah. So not GMM TV, in Thailand in general, I feel like is production quality is all over the road sometimes. Like Japan is consistent. Korea, for everything else that they do, is relatively consistent for production quality. Taiwan, like a few years back, I learned so much about how to produce it, not to produce a show, from how bad Taiwanese production used to be in like late 90s, early 2000s. Like, oh, that's the boom mic. Okay, I can see it. Oh, that's a redub. They'd be like, we're talking. And you're like, they read. Oh, that redubs exist. I know redubs exist because of Taiwan. But they've been consistent recently, right? Ish. We did see some issues with volume levels, I think, with Seer Love, like music and wise, right? So ish, consistent-ish. But Thailand is messy sometimes when it comes to production quality, right? Like I haven't seen the mic.
A room in a garbage can behind a shower curtain.
Lapel mics for hugging.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh! Don't use a lapel
What
mic.
do you mean? What do you mean? Is it so bad?
So yeah, the quality of production, right? Unico food trucks and coffee trucks might have come from K-pop. It may have, but in the Thai system, this was on a Japanese. They had a Japanese show with Perth talking about Aussie Perth with Thai production and Thai dramas and stuff. And it did come out of the actors not having food. So, yes, they talked about it. It's a thing. The idea may have come from there, but yes, it's the system is not the best. Yeah, some of them do come from wealthy families, so they don't really care. And I do find it makes me wonder about what people make in acting and how secure acting is. That everybody is a doctor or a vet or, you're like how many of our American actors are doctors? They might have a degree, right?
Dr. Ken.
We have the lady that used to be Blossom with a degree in like
Mayim Bialik, yes.
Right. She has a degree in some kind of high level rocket science type thing. I don't remember. But they're not necessarily active in that, right? But we have so many doctors and people active in other things. And I'm like, I feel like main character acting is not usually a part-time thing, but it kind of is in Thailand. So I'm a bit worried. Like how are the rest doing? Because if you need to supplement your acting by being a doctor, I don't know if they need to, but it's a bit worrisome for me, right? Mm. And we did have at the BL Symposium last year, they have appearances every day sometimes, right? And one of the people in the audience, we had like a panel at the end, asked if there are measures in place, what measures they are in place to make sure people aren't working too much. Because I swear, Thai actors are always posting hospital pics. Like, they're always in the hospital. I'm like, what are they doing? And the person that answered, it was again this Bunak guy, and he said they want to work because that's their money, right? The presenter jobs are their money. So that makes me wonder about really what they're making in the show. If you have to, if you want to work, you know how it is when you're paid by the hour or something, and you want to get that overtime. You want to get, like, when I worked in tourism in Barbados, we have Japan does not do double pay. We had double pay, triple pay. 3 days a year, there's triple pay. Christmas, if you work Christmas, it's triple pay. I don't want to work Christmas Day in Japan. I have to, but I don't want to. I was jumping, like, to work in Barbados because, three times, yep, me. And we worked a 14-hour day, and I got a week's pay from that day, right? And that's the sort of thing that the space they're in, the BL actors, is like, this is your money, but then it's also worrisome that has to be your money when you're an actor, right? We don't think that should, actors shouldn't need part-time jobs if they're the main character. If you're like lady number 5 in restaurant, sure, fine, have a part-time job. But yeah, I don't know about that model, but it's normal in Thailand. So, okay, let's see. Get better sound editing. All right. Okay. So, let's get the last thing for the night. We're going to talk about Drama Llama for it's out there in the public this year. We had our first subathon in February, another subathon in June and July, during which we were all very happy but all very dead. From I was living on two time zones, like it was crazy going to work and then coming back to Sean's time zone and just like I don't know which way was up. And then we had our open beta started in September. So Drama Llama thoughts and how was the year for everybody?
I'll let you guys go first.
Okay. For me, I started in January, so it's really been the Drama Llama year, and it's weird. Like I have my cushion right here that Topher sent me from history, and it's funny because when Topher like drew this cushion, I didn't know him at all, and then by the time the cushion arrived, I was in Drama Llama. And I'm like, this looks like such nepotism, but I started in January, and it's funny because like I think one of my big selling points was Japanese, and I have not used Japanese at all. It's just like talking with Thai people in English. I'm like, I feel like I lied on my resume. But and I also like it's been interesting because for me I started in writing mostly, right? And that has shifted as we kind of try to build the YouTube, because until the site catches on, YouTube is kind of our widest base. Like writing doesn't go as hard as YouTube. It would be good to have both, but this SEO from writing is not as big as the reach of YouTube in this very visual age. So like I've moved into that a bit, and it's been interesting because I really didn't have any YouTube. I don't have any YouTube presence outside of Drama Llama. So it's been nice to get into that. Interviewing people is insane. The people that I like talk to, oh my gosh, did I talk to Meg? Did that happen? Like, so that is fun. And I feel like right now I really, really wish that Drama Llama was big enough for me to do full time and ignore the other stuff in my life. Cause this is the fun part, right? Like Katy Perry, this is the part of me, kind of this is the part of me that I just want to be in, right? So I am very much enjoying that. Again, thanks to all the people that are supporting us in the app. We hope it will continue to get more and more active, because I know right now sometimes we only have like 2 posts a day and there's not a lot going on in the news and stuff. So hopefully we can continue to get that more and more active as we go on. I think that's most of my thoughts. Topher.
See, I wish I could insert Edison's interview here. Drama Llama is an app. Yeah, like has been discussed many times throughout the episode. Like Drama Llama it was born out of the desire to basically just unite the BL community. It's supposed to be the BL enthusiast one-stop shop for all things BL. And it's been quite a journey. It's been such a journey from like being in Sean's basement, just talking about this. He hit me over the head with a baseball bat, tied me up, and wouldn't let me go to my acting gig.
Made you listen to his rhymes.
Maybe listen about Drama Llama. But no, like
Mingyu.
from the early days of just like, me, Sean, Miguel, just chit-chatting online. And, this was Sean's brainchild. This was his baby. And like, this is the idea he had. And, from those days where I was the tech team, I'm no longer, but back then I was the tech team. Um, and now we have an actual tech team with many people, and they're doing way more things than I ever was doing. But sometimes I sit back and think, like, man,
Do you
that
remember
feels
in
like enough.
Chicago?
Of course, I remember in Chicago.
You sit down, starting to.
Yes, he finally got in bed with me. But also outside of that, yes, after the SB19 concert, or pretty much every day that we were there, like once we were done doing our gallivanting around the town and whatever, I would be in the bed. I'd have my laptop and I'm like working on this database. And I'm like trying to figure out how to write this query so I can populate this calendar, blah, blah, blah. And I was doing far more high level stuff than I had the ability to do because it's been a very long time since I've done computer programming. I haven't done that since like college. But like we've come such a long way since then. And it's like, it's incredible to see just the growth that has happened in the short amount of time. And it's exciting to think of where it is going to go in the future. And of course, we're thankful to all of the people who've been helping us along, every step of the way, whether you've taken part in any of the subathons, whether you were someone who took part in the Kickstarter, whether you were someone who was, on the very, very like super beta testing or now the open beta testing, like wherever you like, if you're just on our YouTube channel watching our content, watching gay boys kiss, or if you're like on my streams giving me ideas for more content to put on the YouTube channel, we're gonna have that list of bad wigs, don't worry. Yeah, just thank you. You guys are amazing. You guys are incredible. And this like I say about my channel all the time, same thing with this app. This app would be nothing without this. Thank you.
Venus says someone call HR, but Topher is HR. Topher
I am HR. I am HR. Why are we calling HR? Well, yes, look, Venus, you don't know how hard I had to beg this man to get into bed with me. Like he was so intimidated by my feet. He was like, damn, those are some feet that might change.
That's a new version of this story.
That is an addition. That is a new addition to the story.
He said those feet might change the nature of this relationship, and I don't know if I'm ready for that change to happen. So I'm gonna just sleep on the floor. Like it was this whole adventure we went on. But
people are actually gonna start thinking that this is a real thing. Okay.
I thought this man was a virgin because
I am.
Because of all his times, like my virginal this and what I'm like.
And then you listen to the Rainbow Glaze podcast and you find out no.
I am. It grows back.
Oh man. Yes. So Leon says shout out to the Drama Llama team. Yes, thank you team. Thank you Grove. Thank you to Jay, our other member of the Grove team who's not here, and all of our tech team and all of our other teams. Yes, you're doing an amazing job and we love you. All right. You're a Boston Topher. Dang. Oh. Ooh, fighting words.
Oh. What did I do?
That means Yummy loves you.
I mean, yes.
Oh yeah, I do love Boston. This is true. I do. I do love Topher. So he is.
Oh.
I did take the OnlyFriends character quiz and I did get Boston.
I don't even remember.
Why? I don't know. And I think like all of like the horoscope or like the astrology maps they did, like Boston was a Cancer. I'm like, fine, I guess.
You're Boston. Oh no.
That to mean that I'm very honest, and I thank you for it.
That is true. That is true. Boston's honest. Sean, take us out with your overview of Drama Llama in this year.
2024 has been a year. How has it been an entire year? We started last year, at the end of last year, we brought Raj on, at the very end of the year. Everybody, I mean, he basically started building things from the ground up November-ish, into December, and then really started taking off in January. It has been a journey. It has been a journey. Like Topher said, starting off, I had this idea and I reached out to him and Miguel and we just started sitting and talking and we met weekly and we just chatted and we went through things and started just just designing things. I mean, yeah, there were times where Miguel and I were, you know, on Discord, sitting and looking at other social media and looking at ideas from there and how we wanted to do things ourselves. And then Topher doing his thing on the tech side of things and figuring that out. And there's just so many different ridiculous stories like that. And then this year is where things started to really come together. You know, we started building things. We've come a long way. We've come from nothing, literally nothing, non-existing thing, to an entire platform at this point. I mean, yes, we're still in open beta. We're still working on things. There are, it said in the last update video that I did, I was gonna release it, and then Raj and the team were just like busting through things, and I'm like, I might as well just wait now, because I don't know what else they're gonna get through. Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. It has been. I don't know how else to explain it. Like it's been going. It's been going. We've done a lot of subathons. I am always amazed at how much support we've gotten. Not only did we launch the open beta, but we've even surpassed 1,000 users. You know, there, 1,000 signups, and it's a crazy experience. Like, I've done a lot of things. I've been in a lot of leadership positions. I've managed and run entire research labs in universities and that kind of stuff. But building something from the ground up has definitely been something special, and it's all thanks to you guys, and I am forever grateful for everybody being a part of this journey with us. You know, we've gone from the three of us in my basement apparently to 10 of us.
Your multi-city basement.
To 10 of us working in different avenues and aspects of this entire thing. We have the growth team, and we have basically the tech team, and y'all be doing things that are just amazing to me. And I definitely couldn't do it without every single one of you. And so I'm forever grateful to you guys as well. I mean, it got to a point where, we were like struggling with just the three of us. I'm like, we gotta call a tech person in here, man. Like, I don't think we can do this.
That's the best thing in work, knowing where you need to get somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for everything that you do.
2025, as Shalyn, our product person, keeps saying, I think it's going to be the year for us, and I hope that I think there are things that we're trying to work on actively. There are things that I've hinted at. Things that I've hinted at in this stream, things that I've hinted at, in my own streams, because I can't shut my mouth sometimes. But I get super excited, I am the Tom Holland of Drama Llama.
The way off just spills stuff or something, or tea. Just, oops, didn't mean to say that. Well, yeah.
He turns the paper around saying confidential, ooh, my bad. No, but like there's a lot of things that we have planned that we want to do, and I have meetings planned, I have so many different things that we're working on, and I think 2025 has the potential to be a big year for us, but I also think that it has the potential to be a big year for the industry at large. If things work out the way that we would like them to work out. Like I said, I have to think about growth, and I have to think about the industry a lot, and I have to run. I love data because I am a researcher at heart, and I have to look at the data for industry stuff. And I hope that, and I think that there is a lot of potential there. That's what I'll say.
Okay. All right, thank you, Sean. So we're going to wrap it up here. Always wrap it up, people. And yeah, thank you guys for attending and being active in the chat on Twitch and on YouTube. You'll be able to find this video hopefully in our YouTube afterwards and on Sean's Twitch. And if you want to support Drama Llama, just, you know, watch our videos. And also if you'd like to donate actual money, you can find a button on the site. And you can also donate in stream on Twitch with Sean's Twitch. Yeah, thank you for everything that you do.
Sean's Twitch, get him a tattoo.
And things to look forward into in the near future that we can actually tell you about. There is an interview coming up, as we have hinted to, and there's also a video, a video version of some of the things that happened in 2024. Okay, so you look forward to those things popping up on YouTube at some time in the next couple weeks, right? Yeah, thank you guys for all of your support this year. Look forward to working with you and seeing you guys around in the next year. In Japan, we say Yoyo Toshio, which means please welcome a good year. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one. And now I need to go figure out if I'm going to Bright or Golf. I don't know. Just gonna turn up and just be like, who's on the stage, right? Yeah. So I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining us.
Bye, everybody.